At the September 11th memorial in Lower Manhattan, where the World Trade Center once stood, names of the victims being read aloud this morning. Vice President Harris in attendance, along with current New York Mayor Eric Adams, former mayors Michael Bloomberg and Rudy Giuliani, as well as both senators from New York and New York Governor Kathy Hochul. President Biden is attending a remembrance event in Anchorage, Alaska, as he returns from the G20 summit in India. Meanwhile, in Milwaukee, taps playing over a cascade of rain at the War Memorial Center this morning, where dozens gathered to mark the impact 9/11 has had locally. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
Today, we stand in unity to remember the lives lost, also reflect on the tragedy, and most certainly to never forget.
Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley.
We must commit and recommit ourselves to never forget and to honor those lives by living the lives of service and living the lives of sacrifice.
Other remembrance events include a playing of taps happening right now in Oconomowoc to commemorate the final moment of impact on 9/11, a ceremony at the Wisconsin 9/11 Memorial in Kewaskum later this morning, and a silent parade in Juneau, Wisconsin in Dodge County later this evening. Today is also known as Patriot Day, and one local Medal of Honor recipient says the military continues to build lifelong skills.
With fewer young people joining the armed forces, Gary Wetzel says it's more than what you see in the movies.
It's not to, get a rifle, bang, bang, shoot them up. There are so many different aspects of the military. Give something back.
Gary Kohlmeyer says today is a better time to be a veteran than in the 70s.
The people were so upset with the war that we had no respect at all, and it wasn't our fault there was a war. Now, out of us that were there didn't believe in the war either, but we were there to serve.
Jack Grau, WTMJ News.
Crews have contained a large apartment fire in Milwaukee near 21st and Mitchell. The fire department saying it began outside of the building. Around a dozen people were evacuated from the inside. The Red Cross is assisting those impacted. And Brewers owner Mark Ananasio set to increase his ownership in an English soccer team amidst discussions of funding improvements at American Family Field. Milwaukee Business Journal editor-in-chief Mark Cass tells WTMJ timing isn't the best.
A lot of eyebrows are raised this week. They're not related, but I think people said, now wait a second. If he can spend the money there, why can't he spend it on this? And I think it's one of those things where it just looks not too good, but hopefully won't have a long-term impact on the stadium debate.
Cass says it's likely a proposal will come out of Madison with a multifaceted plan for additional funding, including an increased contribution from the Brewers organization. News about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Stocks are in the green this morning, awaiting inflation readings later this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 64 this morning to 34,641. The S&P 500 is up 17 to 4,475. And the NASDAQ up 80 points to 13,841. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button today. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:05.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, founder of Right Choice Tax Resolution and international best-selling author on how to have less stress with the IRS. The IRS is the most ruthless collection agency in the world. They just announced they will be ramping up collection activities now that the COVID crisis is over. They can seize your bank accounts, garnish your wages, and make your life miserable. My book tells you what you can do so you don't have to worry about them ever again. Don't bury your head in the sand and hope the problem will go away. It will only get worse unless you make the right choice and step up to get them off your back. We can help. We help reduce or eliminate penalties, negotiate payment plans, and represent you in tax audits. Make the right choice and go to rightchoicetax.us to book a call or meeting right now. We know you want to take the first step in getting the IRS off your back so you can live again. That's rightchoicetax.us.
Is joint pain, soreness, and achiness getting in the way of your best life? Football legend Emmitt Smith refuses to back down to pain. That's why he's a huge advocate for QC Kinetics and their natural approach to getting you relief.
Look, we get one trip around, so I wouldn't ever let pain stop me from hanging out with my race team, traveling with my family, or golfing with my friends.
Emmitt's got it right. And QC Kinetics uses regenerative medicine to relieve that never-ending pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back. And the best news, there's nothing foreign being introduced into your body. Just your own body's natural healing properties. No surgery or no downtime.
If pain's holding you back, maybe it's tennis, pickleball, running, hiking, or spending time with special people in your life, what are you waiting for? This is precious time. Get out there and get over to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
NFL football is officially back as the Green Bay Packers rolled into Chicago and stamped their statement in a Week 1 win, dominating the Bears by a final score of 38-20.
Four-man rush. Love has Jones in stride. Aaron Jones racing to the end zone, and he's in! Touchdown, Green Bay!
Love completed 15 of 27 passes for 245 yards, including 3 scores. The 1-0 Packers will now shift their focus to Week 2 as they get set to travel down south to take on the Falcons. The Milwaukee Brewers suffered a deflating loss on Sunday. Corbin Burns threw 8 no-hit innings, and the team took the no-hitter all the way into the 11th inning, but the Yankees do walk it off in the 13th by a final score of 4-3. Milwaukee and Miami tonight from AmFam Field. Coverage gets underway right here on WTMJ beginning at 6 p.m. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads, your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic still have an incident near Concordia on 43 northbound. The exit to Highland Road off of 43 is closed right now because of a crash. So be mindful if that is your exit point off of 43 this morning. Also seeing a slow go on 43 north and south through the construction zone. The wet conditions aren't helping that out. Right now, Brown Deer into downtown, 21 minutes. That's an extra 10. Northbound's a little bit better, just 14 minutes in the opposite direction. We're also seeing a slow spot on 94 north right near Howard Avenue, the right lane blocked due to that broken down vehicle. You're seeing a slowdown all the way into the airport curve, and that's adding quite a few extra minutes on your drive. And also 41 southbound from Highway Q to the zoo right now is 21 minutes. That's an extra 7.
Traffic is sponsored by the Heiser Automotive Group. For convenient car shopping and financing, visit Heiser Automotive Group at one of their 4 locations, Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Lincoln, and Cadillac. Or visit Heiser.com because today's your day.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast for today. Morning rain is going to be moving out over Lake Michigan as we get towards noon. Then will be mostly cloudy, a high of 65 throughout the area. Overnight tonight, lows dropping down to around 55. Slight chance for rain Tuesday, otherwise partly sunny and 67. Sunny Wednesday, 70 inland, 64 near the lake. And a beautiful Thursday and Friday shaping up. Sunny skies and highs in the low to mid 70s. Right now, it's currently 63 degrees and rainy in Milwaukee. Thank you. I'm Adam Roberts, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Times 909.
Win or lose, are we feeling the love this morning? Well, now that we've had time to sleep on it, let's talk about it. It's time for Monday Morning Quarterback on WTMJ Now.
Good morning, an even better morning after a Packers win. I'm Sandy Maxx, in for Steve Scafidi as he vacations in Italy, yet he claimed he was going to be watching the game from overseas. But today is sportscaster and dear friend Bob Brainerd.
Good morning.
Good morning. And wearing his cheddar wedge, so much so that he's got to wear his headphones kind of
to
funny.
the side.
There you go.
Good morning, Sandy.
Brandon Snide.
My voice is a little broken up today. You could probably take a guess as to why.
Tell us why.
The Green Bay Packers continue their ownership of that team down south, the Chicago Bears.
Amazing.
I didn't want to jinx anything.
Incredible performance out of the newly appointed starter, Jordan Love, which when the Packers traded away Aaron Rodgers, the chatter in Chicago ticked up about 10 notches.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
And we heard it, we read it all summer, all spring, and week 1 was we let it all go. We let it all out. We dominated the Chicago Bears. It feels so good to be here this morning.
Oh, good. Like I said, I was afraid I would jinx it. I was going to make some joke about, do you think Jordan Love is going to go purchase the Bears? Making the joke on Aaron Rodgers shouting that he owned them. But
that's on the last guy, right?
But I didn't want to make any jokes and jinx anything. So, Brandon, are you hoarse because you watched the game at home? Where were you shouting at loud?
No, I was at home. I was screaming mostly at myself, at the TV, and at the wall, and at my neighbor, who's a Bears fan, respecting my neighbor. So, my windows were open yesterday, so my wife reminded me of that in the second quarter when the game was getting a little close and I was getting a little loud, and she's like, hey, the windows are open.
Oh.
So I think everybody kind of heard me, so I was pretty loud yesterday. I was by myself. I like watching Packer games alone.
Nothing wrong with that.
I like watching them. I love going to my parents' house. They usually throw really good Packer parties. I don't like going in public to like bars or restaurants to watch Packer games. I like being alone. I move around the living room. I get in a 3-point stance. I got my hands on my knees. I'm ready. I'm ready to go, Bob. Like, and I
take it back.
And I can't.
There is something wrong with that.
That's intense.
And I can't do that in public.
That's true. That's true. You can't. It's hard to ride the roller coaster.
It is.
The emotions of NFL football
games.
It's an
emotional day.
If you're in public, if you're at a sports bar, because the guy next to you might be doing it, but if he's not doing it and you're doing it, then you look like a jackwagon.
You look like an idiot.
So,
I enjoy the social experience. I watched it at Buffalo Wild Wings in Oak Creek, and the only really, really loud guy, I couldn't tell if he was cheering because maybe he had some fantasy football leanings.
Probably.
That he was because he seemed really, really emotional at like strange times that no one else was shouting.
Oh yeah, that's fantasy.
But that's what I enjoy, the communal vibe. For example, there was a fella who was taking his wings to go just before a kickoff, and he joked and shouted, "Go Bears!" And
then he
the whole place just went boo, but jokingly. It was a really fun vibe. So like people ribbing each other. I saw about half a dozen Bears jerseys, but that was fun for me, especially with the Packers doing well and to just feed off that energy. Where did you watch the game, Bob?
Just at home. I was.
Were you in the crouch
like Mr. Cheesehead over here? Yeah. No, I don't do that. So first of all, full disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
I have a different team that I root for, have been rooting for since I was a child. Don't even need to mention it, but 201 yesterday.
It's not the Bears.
No, it's not the Bears.
So we're good.
But 201 yesterday against the Chargers. Anyway, so I don't hate the Packers, but when I watch the Packers, I watch with more of a neutral viewership. It's not with rose-colored glasses. Nothing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I kind of observe the game, and it's more of like, since I've been in the business, and a lot of times I have to like report on it,
mm-hmm.
I would watch it where I'm not a fan because I want to be able to come out and say, hey, the Packers stunk today, or Rodgers stunk today, or something, or the Packers were great today, like they were yesterday. I mean, not being a fan, I can watch that game yesterday and just go, that was really well executed. That was Matt LaFleur coaching those guys up. And the defense playing well, and all facets of the game playing well. So I can do that and say that without having the pom-poms. So that's how I'm just really chill when the Packers are on.
We were going to get each of your top 3 takeaways from yesterday's game, get into the nitty-gritty a little bit more, and tell you how you can celebrate Jordan Love musically. As Monday Morning Quarterback continues, we welcome your thoughts on the Old National Bank Talk and Text line 855-616-1620 as Monday Morning Quarterback continues on WTMJ.
Don't go anywhere. The Monday Morning Quarterback returns right after this on WTMJ.
Hey, Wisconsin, winter is right around the corner. Get your house ready before the cold hits. WTMJ's Jeff Wagner here for Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase, brought to you by senior real estate specialists Bruce and Jean Nemovitz, Hair Construction, Current Electric, Outdoor Living Unlimited, and Kohler Services. Join us every week to discuss ways to weatherproof your home here on News Radio 620 WTMJ. If you can't catch us live, visit Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase under Features on WTMJ.com.
Buckle up. It's all systems go at Potawatomi. Plug in to High Wattage Play and you could win an all-electric BMW i7. Play now through September with your club card. Prize drawings on Thursdays. There's a shocking $800,000 in total prizes on the line, including the luxury BMW i7. It's time to electrify your drive. Only at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. More info at paysbig.com/BMW. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Russ bought his first home in Wisconsin with a mortgage from AccuNet when today's college freshmen were still in diapers. A few Friday mornings ago, Russ emailed saying he and his wife were ready to buy their forever home. And by 4 o'clock, we were all on a conference call with their real estate agent talking about what it would take to write a winning offer in today's inventory-starved market. And then it happened. They met their dream home face-to-face Saturday afternoon and wrote an offer $15,000 over asking listing, accompanied by an AccuNet property-specific pre-approval letter that guaranteed they could make good on that offer without selling their existing home first and without requiring an appraisal. That's right, no appraisal required, which both the listing agent and seller loved. I can't promise your very first offer will be accepted like Russ and Julie's, but I will promise AccuNet can help you and your agent craft the most attractive offer possible. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Get started with your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Vince Vitrano here for Connect Chiropractic. I've had chiropractic care on and off my entire adult life. I can tell you Dr. Alex and his team at Connect Chiropractic do it different. No twisting, no cracking, no popping. At Connect Chiropractic, they use a special tool for adjustments focused on restoring nerve and muscle function. It's not just making your neck and back feel better, although mine already do. Connect Chiropractic can help with headaches, sciatica, vertigo, and more. Schedule an appointment now at GoConnectChiro.com. Tell them Vinny sent you. GoConnectChiro.com.
You're listening to the Monday Morning Quarterback on Wisconsin's radio station, WTMJ.
That is what it sounded like where I was yesterday for the first touchdown from Love to Dobbs. It was some good stuff yesterday at Buffalo Wild Wings where I was.
Did you order wings? Did you imbibe in wings?
I had chicken tenders, and I'm going to tell you, they're bullets.
Tenders?
I'm not a wings
Tenders?
gal, but I will tell you what's delicious. They have a bullet bourbon barbecue sauce. Oh, that's some tasty. That was good.
Their menu's gotten a lot better.
It's expanded. The sauces
changed.
have expanded. But you got to have the wing, Sandy.
You don't have to.
No. You have to have the wing.
Well, but
That's
I
another
did have
show.
chicken.
Bone in or bone out?
Bone in.
Nah. Pass.
I'm done. Goodbye.
But I enjoyed myself where I watched the game. And so it was fun to be around a crowd cheering that much. This is Monday Morning Quarterback, where it's a special show where after Packers games, we will break down the game and give our thoughts and opinions. Filling in for Steve Scafidi today is Bob Brainerd. I'm Sandy Maxx, and Brandon Snide in the sports chair to give us thoughts. What are some of your big takeaways? And Bob has done his research on comparing previous quarterbacks to Jordan Love's debut.
So for me, it's three big things that stuck out in the Packers' 38-20 victory over the Chicago Bears. The first thing was the trenches for the Packers, both on offense and on defense. The Green Bay Packers controlled the line of scrimmage on both ends of the field. I mean, you're talking about the offense. They obviously controlled the run game with Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon didn't have a great game, but they gave Jordan Love what seemed like years to throw the football. Number two was the guy I just mentioned, Jordan Love. I mean, 15 of 27 doesn't necessarily pop the eye, but on third and fourth down, Sandy and Bob, he was money. 8 of 10, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns, a perfect 158.3 passer rating, a 35-yard touchdown to Aaron Jones on 4th and 3 that really took the... I mean, at that point, Bears fans were starting to look for exits. The boos were raining down at Soldier Field, which is a terrible thing to say. And then the third thing, a former first-round draft pick, he's kind of been under a lot of scrutiny. The Packers picked up his option this offseason, was Darnell Savage. He led the team in tackles from the safety position. I thought he played one of his best games that we have seen him play in the green and gold. So trenches up front, offense and defense, it was just great to see. Former first-round pick last year, Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, Lucas Van Ness, all draft picks of this year and last year make big splashing plays. Jordan Love is obviously the big one, and then Darnell Savage.
It's interesting that you pointed out the defense, because I've been saying all along during the preseason that this team needs to lean on that side of the football where they have invested draft capital, where they have invested a lot of money
year after year,
and for 31 years, it's been lean on the quarterback. 31 years of either Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers as the scheduled starter. So it's about time that you lean on the running game. It's about time that you lean on the defense. Take some pressure off of the newbie quarterback. And here we go. Time machine. 31 years ago, September 8th, 2008. I'm sorry, that was Rodgers.
You press a different button in the time machine.
Okay, September 20th, 1992. That's when Brett Favre stepped in for an injured Don Majkowski. So I'm using that as that's when he debuted with the Green Bay Packers, okay? Because he didn't lose the job after that. 22 of 39, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, beat the Bengals 24-23. That year, the Packers went 9-7. They did not make the playoffs. Okay, the similarities.
But they had a winning record.
But,
okay,
yeah, winning record, but did not make the playoffs. Now, September 8th, 2008, Aaron Rodgers steps in.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Favre's gone. 18 of 22, similar numbers to what Jordan Love put up yesterday. 178 yards, threw 2 touchdowns, rushed for 1, beat the Vikings though, 24-19. And then Jordan Love yesterday, you heard the numbers, 15 of 27, 235, 3 touchdowns, beat the Bears 38-20. So all 3 quarterbacks in their quote-unquote debuts won the football game. By the way, Rodgers' season, his first in 2008, team went 6-10. 6-10, did not make the playoffs, obviously. So the point I'm making here is that you got to ease into this with Jordan Love. Even though he won, so did Favre, didn't make the playoffs. So did Rodgers, didn't make the playoffs. If things go south after this and the Packers don't make the playoffs, doesn't mean that the quarterback is at fault. Doesn't mean that the quarterback isn't going to figure things out. Because the 2 guys in front of him, obviously,
who were superstars,
Hall of Famers, figured it out. So patience, Packer fans, and that's why I go back to the patience of let your defense do the heavy lifting. Let the running game do the heavy lifting. Let number 10 get comfy his first year by spreading the love, if you will, pun intended there.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
Did we like the coaches each of those years?
Oh. Brendan, let's see.
Favre's
was
first year?
Holmgren.
It was.
It was Holmgren. So
and McCarthy and Rodgers.
Yeah, McCarthy with Rodgers. So
I mean, they won Super Bowls.
They won Super Bowls.
Okay, that's what I'm. So
Yeah.
just going with the analogies.
And they were both offensive-minded coaches who were in the ear hole of their quarterbacks. So I think there's patience there too. I think Matt LaFleur, you need to preach patience with him. His game plan yesterday was really good for Love. Made him feel comfortable. Used the running game in the second half, which made him feel comfortable, which got Aaron Jones involved. Right. So that was twofold. So, yeah, I mean, when I talk about patience, I think patience with LaFleur because he's kind of starting over. But we all heard about the Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur dynamic, and while you don't think that there was anything wrong there, I think at times Rodgers took liberties and said, hey, I'm going to do what I want here. And maybe Matt LaFleur was like, yeah, well, you do what you want because I'm the new guy here. And so there may have been some of that. With Jordan Love, there's going to be nothing of that. Matt LaFleur's in charge. He's the offensive mind, and Love's going to be all ears.
Yeah, there's no taking away who the leader is in Green Bay right now. And that is Matt LaFleur. And there was a little bit of a learning curve, I believe, on Sunday. If you remember going into the first half, they ran a play. Jordan Love got sacked. There was about 37 seconds left on the play clock, and they waited till there was about 4 seconds to call a timeout. And I think that's just Matt LaFleur's learning. Okay, I don't have Aaron Rodgers out there, and this isn't a knock on number 10, but it's his first year as the full-time starter, as the guy. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. Should have been either a spike or a timeout right away. You give your a team another opportunity to put it in the end zone before half, but that's okay. You still got points and scored going into the half, and eventually, obviously, took over the game in the second half. So for me, and Rodgers has said this, he's gone on record saying it, he didn't like to play under center. In a Matt LaFleur offense, it comes from the Kyle Shanahan, that 60% of the playbook is under center. Aaron Rodgers didn't do it last year, number one, because of his thumb. Number two, he didn't like it. And he doesn't like the motion. That's another big part of the Matt LaFleur scheme on offense. And you saw all of that on display on Sunday. Under center, motions, jet sweeps. I mean, all of it was on display. And I know there was a lot of people, especially on Twitter, that were upset about the use of Aaron Jones. I think it was going inward that second quarter where they the first drive was all Aaron Jones, literally all of Aaron Jones. He scored the touchdown. And it just looked good from an offensive standpoint. Then they kind of went away. Excuse me, he didn't score the touchdown. He got him down to the red zone.
Right.
And it just looked like a real smooth game plan. Then that second quarter, they went away from him. And I think for people, he's got to understand, people got to understand, without Christian Watson, Aaron Jones is the catalyst of that offense.
He is.
Things change when the Christian Watson is in that offense. And I think Matt LaFleur used Aaron Jones to perfection. He waited until the second half. He admitted to Aaron Jones on the sideline going into the tunnel that he does need to get him involved a lot, and they just fell behind the sticks on first down, and it caused Jordan Love to have to throw the ball, and And I thought Matt LaFleur had an excellent game plan, excellent execution throughout the course of a game. Look, that's not an easy place to win. Like, I know the Packers have done it a lot, and it looks easy, and people just go, it's in Chicago, it's a win. That's 62,000 people that are waiting for this moment. They have been waiting. Some of them literally have been waiting their whole lives to not see Aaron Rodgers under center.
And in the heat yesterday. That is Brandon Snide wearing his victory cheddar wedge. Bob Brainerd in for Steve Scafidi. I'm Sandy Maxx. I had an observation about every time Aaron Rodgers appeared on the screen where I was watching the game last night. And we welcome your feedback on Monday Morning Quarterback. Give us a call or a text. Old National Bank Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Back with more victory highlights next.
This is the Monday Morning Quarterback on WTMJ. Couldn't make it to the game?
Here, try this.
If you live in Milwaukee, Racine, Waukesha, Ozaukee, or Washington County,
Get up! Get up! Get out of here and go!
you can stream Bob Uecker and the Brewers on your phone, tablet, or computer.
Struck him out looking.
Using the WTMJ app or at WTMJ.com.
A little different from when you played, Uke. Yeah, those big old payphones we had. Ah, man.
Hey, this is Steve Scafidi for Advent. I had some snoring issues that kept my wife up at night. That led to poor sleep and a lot of tired mornings on the radio, and nobody wants that, trust me. But it's simply, my nose wasn't working the way it should. I decided to go to Advent for a quick 30-minute visit, one of their great facilities, talk to a bunch of their doctors. They really put me at ease. After a really simple sleep study at home, in my own bed, they determined the root cause of my problem had to do with my sinuses and nasal passages in my breathing triangle. I didn't even know I had a breathing triangle until I went to see Advent. After a short procedure done in office, I'm back to breathing well, and my wife and I are both back to sleeping through the whole night. The best sleep we've ever had, that could be you. If you struggle with restless nights like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your life and your nights a whole lot better, go to AdventKnows.com, schedule an appointment today. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Hey, Brian. I think it's time to get serious about new windows and front door for our home.
I agree. It will save us money in the long run to eliminate the draft.
I was thinking more about our curb appeal, but yes, the draft thing too.
J&J Contractors in Greendale have been around for 40 years and have great reviews.
Go give them a call.
J&J Contractors' skilled and certified team uses high-quality materials for all your exterior needs. J&J Contractors do it all. Windows, doors, siding, roofing, and gutters.
What's that sound? That's the sweet sound of you, small business owner, not having to worry about cybersecurity. Sounds nice. U.S. Cellular is offering cybersecurity protection with unlimited data for $29.99 per line. Does that include protection from phishing? Of course, unless you mean like the kind. Get cybersecurity protection with unlimited data for $29.99. U.S. Cellular, built for business, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
You're listening to the Monday Morning Quarterback on Wisconsin's radio station, WTMJ.
Four-man rush. Love has Jones in stride. Aaron Jones racing to the end zone, and he's in! Touchdown, Green Bay!
Good morning. It is the Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Sandy Maxx, and WTMJ now has a guest co-host as Steve Scafidi is vacationing in Italy. Welcome, Bob Brainerd, sportscaster extraordinaire, and Brandon Snide from WTMJ Sports Department, wearing his victory cheddar wedge.
It's a great day.
See it on WTMJ on our video stream. I have what I'm calling my victory shirt. So this is my...
It's lacy. It's green.
It's the right color, Packer green. So hopefully I will get to wear this.
It works
more often all season.
Every Monday or Thursday or Friday
or when we'll
Tuesday.
take the victories when we can get them. We'll take it. I want to just you had something to share, Brandon, didn't you? Okay. Well, if you don't, I'm just going to blurt it out. Watching on the huge screen yesterday at Buffalo Wild Wings, I was surprised during two video montages in which they were showing the big Bears-Packers rivalry lineup over the years. Every time Aaron Rodgers was on screen, I was waiting for it. There was nothing. No one had a reaction. I thought for sure
good or
you were
bad,
going to hear, like either a boo when he appeared or see you later, don't miss ya, like good luck, sucker. Like I thought there would be some sort of reaction. And it was a bunch of classy football fans where I was, I guess.
I think that's the sentiment, that Rodgers was here a long time and did a lot of good things for the Green Bay Packers, but it was kind of time to move on to the next guy. And so I don't think they begrudge him. Favre was different, obviously, because
back and forth.
He's crying at the press conference. When he retires.
Go watch some baseball.
Yeah,
I still remember that.
How
one.
he treated,
reportedly
how he treated,
and so with Rodgers, I mean, Rodgers could have come back because he was under contract. He could have come back and been the Packers quarterback this year, but we all know how this played out. So I think that's perfect, Sandy. I think that's how most Packer fans feel: is they don't miss him, but they also, it's like, nah, dude, yeah, it's time. I think. Yeah. It's time to move on. Good luck to you, and we'll be fine with this guy.
Oh, we're definitely fine. That was on display on Sunday. And I think if you're a Packers fan, too, you're also a Bills fan tonight. Because remember, the Packers got the Jets' first-round draft pick.
That's right.
Rodgers plays 65% of the snaps, so every loss to them is a better draft pick for the Packers. So I will be a Bills fan tonight. I will be tuning in to the Monday night football game between the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills, and I will be cheering on Josh Allen like I have always done starting tonight.
I feel like Damar Hamlin will also be getting a lot of that love and support.
He's actually inactive tonight.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's inactive.
Thank you for that update.
He'll be there, though, obviously. I'm sure he'll get a standing ovation.
Yeah, after his tragic collapse. I say tragic, but it still was in the moment.
It was.
It was horrifying, but to see him on the mend, and even though he's inactive, he's still an NFL caliber football player.
Amazing.
Well done, Damar.
By the way,
go ahead.
Well done by Charlie, our producer, for the Love Boat theme. You see what he did there?
Oh, absolutely.
Love, exciting and new.
And if you text the word love, LOVE, to the Old National Bank talk and text line, 855-616-1620, text the word love, and you can enjoy a full love playlist of love songs.
Oh, we're loaded.
To soak in the victory.
Loaded with love.
And Love Boat kicks it off.
I got a question for you two, if you don't mind me. We have a text here on the talk and text line from the 920.
Yes.
They say the unbelievable arrogance of all Packers fans is a joke. It's one game now. Enough already. My question to you two, is it just one game? Is it just in the standings? Sure. On the schedule? Sure. Is this just one game?
I found myself writing this morning that this was the first victory. So I think it is the first of several.
Fair enough.
That's my mindset.
It's 1.5 games because of the rivalry with the Bears, and because the Bears did a lot of things in the offseason, okay? And a couple of years ago, they changed their head coach. They got Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. Now they put some more weapons around Justin Fields. They add to the defense, and they get rid of Aaron Rodgers. So they think that the football gods are now finally going to be on their side because they did all these things, right? The stars are going to align, and then they don't align like that. So to a Packer fan, it's one win, but it's also a half win because of all those extracurriculars of this rivalry going back and forth.
I think it's a tone setter. It's a tone setter for the season.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a tone setter for the new Jordan Love era. It's not just one game, and I know our friends over at 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee had this conversation as well. Mark Tauscher, who was on the post game last night, said it's the most, I remember the word he uses, but one of the biggest victories in the Matt LaFleur, Brian Gutekunst era. Because it is no more. You don't have Aaron Rodgers. You don't have a 4-time MVP and all-pro quarterback under center. You are loaded with rookies. Luke Musgrave was literally falling over his own feet catching passes yesterday. Jaden Reed out there catching passes. This is a young team. And Chicago thought the boogeyman was gone. They thought, you don't have that guy to fall back on anymore. And they went into their house in front of their fans after their players, Justin Jones, Jaquan Brisker, ran their mouths all week about how they hate the Packers.
Yes.
We hate Green Bay. We can't stand Green Bay. We can't wait to beat them.
Still waiting.
Sean Clifford in the fourth quarter is taking snaps with like 7 minutes left. Take that, Chicago.
That's good for the game, though. Good rivalry. I would just throw in 262 texted in with an interesting comment for our Monday morning quarterback show that this person would like to mention that maybe the Packers also made the right decision moving on from Mason Crosby. Anders Carlson hitting that 52-yard field goal was something they would never have tried with Crosby. That field goal would have been good from 60 feet plus.
Yeah,
60 yards plus. 2
new kickers, new punter, new kicker. That kind of flies underneath the radar until there's something on the line, and we'll see when he's kicking a 52-yarder with the game on the line. But yeah, I mean, there's all these stories, these backstories like that. New kickers. How's that going to work out? Well, everything worked out yesterday for the Green Bay Packers. That's the amazing thing is that the stats were good for Jordan Love. Aaron Jones got involved in the second half, even though he was like a ghost in the first half. So Matt LaFleur called a really good game. There's not a lot you can take. Were there some silly penalties? Yeah, there were some silly penalties, okay? But
every game's going to have them.
Every game has that. And if the Packers lost to the Bears, we'd be talking about silly penalties and saying, yeah, that's the reason they lost this game. How dare you clean that up? But it doesn't matter. You throw it all away when you have a convincing win like this. Now, they go on the road and play Atlanta next.
What's your prediction?
Different Week 2 might be just as tough as week 1.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say.
Because you don't know.
You don't know. You're still trying to figure yourself out, and you can't just run carbon copies of this because it's a different opponent that's going to have a different game plan for you. So we shall see. But that's why I read off the stats for when Favre came in and made his debut. When Rodgers came in, just because you win that first game, neither team made the playoffs that first year. I'm not saying the Packers can't make the playoffs this year, but it is one. So back to that question. Yeah, it is just one game in the standings. It's 1.5 because you're basking in the glow of being the Chicago Bears. That is your rival.
And based on Rodgers' very first season with the Packers, as long as Love goes 6-10,
he's better.
They'll have 6 wins by November.
Okay, you heard it here. This is week 1 of Monday Morning Quarterback on WTMJ Now. Bob Brainerd, Brandon Snide, thank you so much for joining me, enlightening some of your insights and going through some important Packers history. But so much fun to share a victory and to see Jordan Love perform so well. Even see his mama, Anna, in the stands. You will be able to recognize Brandon Snide with his cheddar wedge on all day today, whether he's shopping at the grocery store, pumping gas. You will recognize him. Just give him a wave.
I got some weird looks at Speedway at 4:30 this morning.
I would think you get high fives. Those people must be most people must be Bears fans.
Oh, they could be Badgers fans.
I started to say Badgers.
It wasn't a great weekend.
Yeah, we're not doing Badgers Monday morning quarterback for the Badgers game, but we still keep the hope for that too. Thank you so much, gentlemen. If you want to hear this again, it will be podcasted on WTMJ.com, and you can still watch the video stream at WTMJ.com as well to see Brandon in his cheddar wedge and me in my victory shirt and Bob in his Dolphins hoodie.
You don't have to say it.
Also, text the word LOVE, L-O-V-E, to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620 for a Jordan Love playlist so you can soak up the victory vibes all day long. Back with more. We have something nice. We're going to talk with Annex Wealth Management's Dave Spano about financial news coming up this week and anything you want to talk about. Join us here on WTMJ Now.
It's WTMJ Now.
It's not a gimmick. It's simply comprehensive, fee-only financial planning to get all your arrows pointed in the right direction. And although rate of return is important, there are many factors that are equally, if not more important. There's a strong belief among financial experts that tax planning is more important than rate of return. And at Financial Strategies, we strongly believe that is what sets us apart. As a result of our strategies, our clients have saved significantly on their taxes. They were prepared to pay the taxes and elated when we shared how they could avoid them. We want to grow your investment and protect it, and we've proven to be very good at doing just that. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., and we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial Strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
Radio Guy Emeritus Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Enjoy summer while it lasts, folks, because you know it's coming down the pike. Cold weather and high heating bills. It's not too soon to start thinking about new windows and doors from Hometown. They have options that fit every home, every style, and every budget, even yours. Their huge New Berlin showroom has the area's largest display of replacement windows, doors, and patio doors from national brands like Anderson, Pella, Marvin, Softline, and more. In wood, Fibrix, fiberglass, and vinyl with scads of features including Wonder of Wonders, blinds inside the glass. What's more, Hometown offers you dedicated project consultants with products installed by Hometown's own employee carpenters. Stop in today or call 414-329-1200 or go to hometownwindows.com. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need.
WTMJ Now.
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day?
Good morning. It is September 11th. I'm Sandy Maxx, and filling in for Steve Scafidi today is Bob Brainerd, WTMJ teammate and very experienced sportscaster, and very fun to start our day off celebrating a Packers victory. And
Indeed.
We will enjoy that all day long despite the cloudy skies and rainfall. But there's no way on a day like today we can't remember September 11th and all the lives that were affected in all the different cities. And whether you knew someone who was in New York or at the Pentagon or in Pennsylvania, it's an event 22 years ago that touched all of our lives and very amazingly brought our communities together. I've never experienced togetherness like that again.
One of the first things I did, Sandy, before I left to come here at our studios in downtown Milwaukee was put the American flag up and put it kind of at half mast. I don't know if everybody does that. I'm somebody who, I'll put the American flag out July 4th, Labor Day, Memorial Day, the obvious days. But to me, September 11th has fallen into that category of you put the stars and stripes out there. And it's just something that, again, I wanted to recognize the day, and that was the first thing I did before I started my day.
It certainly makes a lot of sense. That's very profound. Where were you on that September 11th day?
I remember it was I was here, in the Milwaukee area. It was very warm that day. And I went into work, and I remember we had a portable television that we were trying to tune in because somebody else came into the office and said, "Hey, did you hear what happened in New York?" I was like, "No." And I think that's the story that a lot of people have, is that you find out from somebody else. Did you hear what happened? No. Mm-hmm. And then you think, well, a plane accidentally hit one of the towers, right?
That's what I thought.
And that's what the news stations were reporting, is that apparently they thought it was something happened mechanically with the plane and accidentally hit. And then, of course, when the second one hits, like, this is no accident. And so it was very riveting. One of the lasting memories that I have is, I think it was either that night or the next day, and sitting outside on my deck and not hearing anything. It was eerily quiet in the skies, because you would look up, there's no planes, zero, because they're all grounded, of course. Traffic was very limited because people were just kind of stunned and they didn't want to go anywhere because they were afraid. It's like, well, is this going to happen again?
Right.
And so it was just this eerie silence in the middle of the day. I think it was the 12th, that the world had literally stopped all around us. And people just kind of froze, wondering, is this going to happen again? What do I do? Where do I go?
The phrase shock and awe was overused for a while in the 90s, I think, and that just captured the moment and the horror. When you watch the videos still of people running in the streets trying to outrun clouds of dust from collapsed buildings, it looks like a science fiction film. It looks like a horror movie. But we all knew people who were in that. And we've all heard the stories about people who decided not to take that flight or didn't go to work that morning or traded a shift out. It just really affected so many people. I remember, even though I was watching it on television, I knew I wasn't grasping the enormity of it. And in November, I traveled to New York City because you could get cheap flights. They were like, hey, please come visit us. Please come spend your tourist dollars. And the old phrase of, if you don't continue your regular life, then the terrorists have won. So, like, I'll go visit my friends and support some businesses. And you've never seen nicer New Yorkers than you did in November of 2011. But to walk by Ground Zero, you could still smell acrid, burning metal.
Wow.
There were street signs that they looked like they were flags frozen in place. They were blown in a different direction, and dust everywhere. Yet the streets were very, very clean. It was just a real bizarre situation. And then walking all around the churches and all the signs that were everywhere, people looking for their loved ones. Have you seen this person? And this is almost 2 months later, and your heart just goes out. It's like, you're probably not gonna. They've been pulverized. You've got hundreds of first responders sifting through all this, looking for your loved one. Just heartbreaking. So I'm glad that our country continues to remember and doesn't just write this off in the history books. And actually, you and I, Bob, were talking to some WTMJ teammates, and I was curious, for people who are in their 20s and 30s, I was a full-on adult when this happened. I know how my life changed and how travel changed and, hug your loved ones tighter. But what if you're a kid? And our producer, Charlie, shared that he was a kid and it didn't really resonate with them until later in life, when they were kind of in a situation where, if I was an adult when this happened, I would be horrified.
Right.
Seeing video of just how panicked people were in the World Trade Center towers in particular. And then chatted with another teammate of ours, Jessie, who's also a 20-something, and she remembered being a toddler, and that all of a sudden the TV was on a lot in the house, and that just wasn't their lifestyle. And that she has gone to the September 11th Museum in New York City multiple times, and she said, every time I go, I throw up. And I didn't know if she was being dramatic, and she said, no, it literally physically affects me. So
it's like older people, older than us, who, and maybe even our age group as well, but the Holocaust Museum, War Memorial, things like that. I try to equate it to when JFK got shot. I was a couple years old, but it's still, once you get old enough and you look back at it like the youth of today are looking back on 9/11, and you digest all of it, and you look at the Zuprater films and the headlines and everything like that. As far as JFK, it was profound on me when I was able to understand what that moment must have been like. So I think that I equate that to a lot of the younger generation here. They didn't live it in the moment because they weren't old enough, but when they get old enough and that they digest it now through social media, through YouTube, through the archives that they're used to, how horrifying it is for them to just keep on pouring through all the information of what happened on that tragic day.
Indeed. And from the Old National Bank talk and text line, 855-616-1620, Bob, Diane texted in that she had the flag waiting by the door this morning. It was her first thing, too. And she says, I remember the day we got hit. By the end of the day, I decided to put my flag up, and slowly the whole street was flying the flag by September 12th. It is so sad to me that we are so far from that unity. They say to never forget, but we've forgotten how much better we can be when we work together. America's strength.
Remember, too, when you would go by a firehouse, here in southeast Wisconsin, police stations, and how people gravitated to them, even though they had nothing to do with what happened in New York. But we always heard stories, too, of people locally in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, that went to New York to help the cause. But even if they didn't, you just had more of an appreciation. So you would stop by the firehouse and bring them baked goods, or drop off a donation, or shake their hand, or hug them, because you felt so bad for everything that happened in New York. You saw these people on the block and said that could have been them.
That's the brotherhood, solidarity.
So the brotherhood of the local people, showing more appreciation to them.
And also, I remember, I want to donate blood. I don't know why. I just want to do something. How can one be helpful? There are a couple of events if you would like to be part of local remembrances. In Kewaskum at 11:30 this morning, the Wisconsin 9/11 Memorial and Education Center will hold their annual remembrance event. It includes speakers, and it will be inside in their annex. And this is where the steel beam from the North Tower is the centerpiece at the memorial, and where WTMJ Cares in 2018 helped make sure this could happen and fund that memorial. So that's at 11:30 in Kewaskum. And Economawalk tonight at 7, the Economawalk American Legion Band has their 9/11 Remembrance free concert, and that will be at the Rhodey Memorial Band Shell, downtown Economawalk, 7 o'clock tonight, if you want to observe. And again, just being part of a community. We were joking around about watching the Packers game and feeling that sense of community. This is another way to really feel a sense of community and solidarity. Back with something nice next.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You can do it all by yourself, baby girl. What's your name? Let me talk to you. Let me buy you a drink.
Spilled your drink? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your night. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Change your grocery game plan to locally owned Century Foods, home of the best meat, freshest produce, and tastiest treats. Now through Wednesday, save on 6 to 18-ounce selected varieties Frito-Lay party-size snacks, 2 for $9. 14.5 to 15-ounce selected varieties Red Gold tomatoes or sauce, 4 for $5. 4 to 6-count selected varieties Dannon multi-pack yogurt, 2 for $6. 14.01 to 33.5-ounce selected varieties Culinary Circle pizza, $5.49.
Let's see, spices, cardamom, hibiscus powder. It's like looking at Green Bay's roster right now. I don't recognize it, but I'll learn to love it.
Attention Century shoppers. You're going to love this opportunity. Win 2 tickets to see Green Bay play Kansas City on December 3rd, autographed Packers footballs, or 4 packs of Hall of Fame tickets.
I'd love to see Green Bay's new QB in action and win those tickets. What do I do?
Find the weekly code on Century's Facebook or Instagram and enter to win.
Love it. Getting the Century code on Insta right now.
Ends November 14th.
Annex Wealth Management, investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning from a fee-only fiduciary. Forget commission sales pitches and financial products you don't need. Know the difference. Annex provides elite, comprehensive financial planning customized to who you are and what you need. AnnexWealth.com.
When traveling at 20 miles per hour, the average stopping distance is about 40 feet.
That stopping power is calculated in both thinking and braking distance.
And assuming you've got the thinking and braking part down, the only thing left is good tires.
Just Google Richlands to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 convenient locations.
And rest assured, we'll put you in the right tire no matter what sort of vehicle you drive.
Plus, every tire purchase that we install automatically comes with our free flat tire protection plan.
5 conveniently located facilities, all AAA approved.
And all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to install your tires.
So Google Richlands.
Or go to richlands.com.
And remember to be safe, buckle up, and hey, always make sure you have good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
Due for Tire Service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richlands Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richlands.
WTMJ Now.
Good morning. Welcome to WTMJ Now. I am Sandy Maxx, and filling in for Steve Scafidi today as Steve soaks it all in Italy is
Lucky Steve.
Is Bob Brainerd, sportscaster and WTMJ teammate. We've been talking about September 11th. There was a good news story that I found, which bear with me on this. There were sad stories, and they go on and on and on and on, including high school sweethearts from South Carolina. And Carolyn Howman was working at the Pentagon on September 11th, 2001.
Oh, wow.
She was going to retire the next year, and her husband's watching the news and sees the crash into the Pentagon and thinks, good Lord, her office is right by the helicopter pad. That's where this crash is. She didn't survive. So her husband, Herman, has the urn with her ashes. Their house gets broken into, and what do thieves take?
No.
Yes. Among the many things, they also took the urn of ashes. The urn is discovered by a pawn shop owner who goes, hold on, I'm just going to take this so these thieves don't have this.
Yeah.
That pawn store owner looked and looked, found another person who happened to work at the Pentagon at that time, who said, you know what, let me see what I can find out. Found out on a Facebook page, tracked down the family, and got the urn back to the husband.
Oh, my gosh. I got goosebumps.
Again, for all of the horror and awfulness of September 11th and watching it in real time or watching it in documentaries later, one thing that we can all be proud of are, like Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers of who stepped up, whether they're first responders, whether it's the whole country coming together and being neighborly. It lasted 2 weeks or a month with American flags stuck in people's windows and caring about each other and being kind. It didn't last long enough, but it really was real in the moment. And here again are heartfelt people who are like, this is not right. We got to reunite this family in this way. So people stepping up continues to warm my heart. There are heartwarming stories that have come out of the tragedy, and hopefully we can find inspiration in that and continue to try to come together as a country.
Thanks for sharing.
My pleasure. Something nice. I look for this about every Monday at this time because, we can use some good news stories. You can find hope in the strangest places sometimes.
On a rainy Monday? Absolutely. Keep bringing it, Sandy.
News is next on WTMJ.
More of WTMJ now after this. Get inside the mind of Mark Tauscher.
I feel like I'm a smart person most of the time.
See the world from his perspective.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. And in this case, I don't know if I'd say it was bliss, but I was definitely ignorant.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, every day at 7:50.
I kind of went with the attitude of don't even have your phone with you. They can't call you, and they can't cut you.
Mark Tauscher on Wisconsin's Morning News. Presented by your Wisconsin Chevy dealers. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and Kohler Services.
Are you young, hardworking, and sick of living in an overpriced apartment? Or worse yet, your parents' basement? Are you tired of wishing you lived in a bigger place with a backyard for your kids to play? Are you sick of making offers on homes just to watch them slip away? If so, you need to call Speaker Robin Voss at 1-800-362-9472 and thank him for supporting the workforce and senior housing bill package, because help is on the way. In July, $525 million in funding for workforce and senior housing was signed into law, and Speaker Robin Voss's support helped make that happen. These laws will make a difference in putting Wisconsin's housing crisis behind us, developing new housing that Wisconsin's workforce can afford. It's time to thank Speaker Robin Voss. Just like you, everyone wants a backyard too. Paid for by the Wisconsin Realtors Advocacy Fund.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
Shop Ken Michaels Furniture for their once-in-a-year tent sale.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi for Heiser Automotive. You know I love talking about Heiser. I am now driving a 2021 Lincoln Corsair all-wheel drive. Of course, perfect for all of Wisconsin's changing weathers. We all know about that weather. It is amazing, comfortable. I always say Lincolns have the best ride. 6-year, 100,000-mile comprehensive warranty coverage. All of the great features of Lincoln, all available at one of their 5 great locations. Check it out. You can also go to Heiser.com, see all of their great pre-owned and new vehicles. Stop, online, always there for you, much more. Heiser.com. They have all the inventory you might need for any vehicle need you have. You could be in a vehicle as soon as tonight. Need your current vehicle serviced? Heiser has, as I said, 5 convenient locations. Get your vehicle ready for the upcoming summer season. Call for an appointment. Schedule online. They can fix body damage too, one of their great service centers. Make sure you visit Heiser.com for all your vehicle needs. That's why they say every day at Heiser, today's your day.
Relive the glory days of Las Vegas with The Rat Pack is back. Returning to the Pabst Theater Saturday, January 27th. It's all glitz and glam when the big band swings into town. Featuring music from Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and Dean Martin, as well as their trademark swagger. You'll feel like you're there in the Sands Hotel Copa Room. The Rat Pack is back. Tickets on sale now at PabstTheaterGroup.com.
Power of attorney is one of the most important documents in your estate plan, and it's best to work with a professional to create it. I'm Dr. Aaron Armstrong with Steinbrenner Financial Group. Learn more about this and our upcoming free estate planning seminar at steinbrennergroup.com.
At Semper Fi, we work hard not to tarnish our reputation, and that's what will make your decision to work with us one you won't regret. You can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
Keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
For WTMJ contest rules, visit WTMJ.com/contests. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
63 degrees and rain. We're going to have rain off and on most of the day. High today 65. Cloudy tonight with a low 55. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. In Milwaukee today, taps playing over a cascade of rain at the War Memorial Center, where dozens gathered to mark the impact of that 9/11 has had locally. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson.
Today, we stand in unity to remember the lives lost, also reflect on the tragedy, and most certainly to never forget.
Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley.
We must commit and recommit ourselves to never forget and to honor those lives by living the lives of service and living the lives of sacrifice.
Other remembrance events include a ceremony at the Wisconsin 9/11 Memorial in Kewaukson and a silent parade in Juneau later this evening. In New York City, bells tolled at 9:03 a.m., the moment when United Airlines Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower of the World Trade Center 22 years ago. Vice President Kamala Harris was in attendance, along with current New York Mayor Eric Adams, former mayors Michael Bloomberg and Rudy Giuliani, both senators from New York, and New York Governor Kathy Hochul. President Biden marking the 9/11 terror attacks at a memorial ceremony in Alaska after wrapping up a trip overseas. President Biden will meet later today with first responders and military members at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Anchorage. He's returning home from the G20 summit in India and a visit to Vietnam. Crews have contained a large apartment fire in Milwaukee near 21st and Mitchell. Fire department says the fire began outside the building. Around a dozen people were evacuated. The Red Cross is assisting those affected. The Jordan Love era kicks off with the win for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers roll, beating the Bears at Soldier Field 38-20. Jordan Love threw for 3 touchdowns, happy to finally have his chance to start.
It's great. It feels great. It's definitely been a long time coming for me, 3 years as a backup. Just watching, learning, and growing, seeing this team work. It feels good to be out there leading those guys and being out there playing with them finally and come away with the dub. It's just what we wanted.
Love, the Packers now head to Atlanta to play the Falcons in Week 2. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, makes his debut with the Jets tonight on Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. A shakeup for the Michigan State Spartans this weekend after head football coach Mel Tucker is suspended without pay, the center of a sexual harassment investigation. ABC's Ariel Reshef has more.
According to a USA Today report, a woman who worked with the football team educating athletes about sexual assault awareness claims Tucker made unwanted advances, sending her gifts and asking if she would date him if he weren't married, allegedly performing an unwanted sex act while on the phone with her. MSU athletics officials saying they learned of the allegations in late December and hired a third party to investigate.
The university is scheduled to hold a hearing for Tucker October 5th, where officials are expected to make a final decision on his status with the school. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 23 points, S&P 500 up 11, and the NASDAQ Composite is up 64. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 10:04.
It's a city from a fairy tale on the Mediterranean Sea.
Netanya, the city of diamonds.
And in this city of diamonds lived a crazy genius named Moses Hadara.
Moses was a mathematician,
a diamond cutter,
and a bit of a theoretical physicist.
Albert Einstein devised a formula, E = mc squared.
Albert's formula unleashed the power locked inside an atom.
Moses' formula unleashed the power locked inside a diamond.
Moses began with star facets,
kite facets,
upper girdle facets,
lower girdle facets,
and pavilion facets.
But then a voice told him to add 24 new facets, the Moses facets.
When he cut the final one,
Shazam!
Moses unleashed an explosion of light.
That dazzling diamond is known today as the Kessler 81.
See it for yourself.
See it for yourself.
See it for yourself.
At Kessler's.
To find the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
You're just going to have to live with it. That's what I told myself. And if you can believe it, that's what the doctors told me.
Since Andy was a boy, he had health issues, which later we would find were primarily due to his trouble breathing. So for 36 years, Andy lived with about 85% blockage in his nose. He had to breathe through his mouth, because when he tried to breathe through his nose, it felt like he was being suffocated. It affected his sleep, his work life, and his ability to play sports. And he wasn't going to let it ruin his life anymore. So he came to Advent. As bad as it was, his problem required a simple solution. In-office balloon sinuplasty and turbinate reduction. Procedures you won't find offered by big box healthcare. This is Dr. Madan Kandula. It's definitely possible that your nasal breathing problems have a simple solution too. You can hear Andy's story in his own words at adventknowsandy.com and begin on your path to breathing well and living better.
Results may vary.
And for a WTMJ Sports Update.
NFL football is officially back as the Green Bay Packers rolled into Chicago and stamped their statement in a Week 1 win, dominating the Bears by a final score of 38-20.
Four-man rush. Love has Jones in stride. Aaron Jones racing to the end zone, and he's in! Touchdown, Green Bay!
Love completed 15 of 27 passes for 245 yards, including 3 scores. The 1-0 Packers will now shift their focus to Week 2 as they get set to travel down south to take on the Falcons. The Milwaukee Brewers suffered a deflating loss on Sunday. Corbin Burns threw 8 no-hit innings, and the team took the no-hitter all the way into the 11th inning, but the Yankees do walk it off in the 13th by a final score of 4-3. Milwaukee and Miami tonight from AmFam Field. Coverage gets underway right here on WTMJ beginning at 6 p.m. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. No major delays out there. We did have some earlier delays but on I-43 between Brown Deer Road and downtown, but those have worked themselves out. About a 12-minute drive right now. 94 northbound from Layton Avenue to the Marquette interchange would take you about 6 minutes this morning.
Traffic is sponsored by Built Right Furniture, Leather and Mattresses.
For affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses, you've got to get to Built Right today. Built Right Furniture saves you money. 54th and Layton Avenue in Greenfield.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. It's going to be a rainy day. Rain off and on all afternoon. Mostly cloudy today with a high of 65 and 55 for your overnight low. Slight chance of a morning shower tomorrow. Partly sunny, high 67. Sunshine Wednesday, high 64 to 70. Sunny on Thursday, a high 71. And Friday up to 77 under sunny skies. Right now in Madison, we're at 59 degrees. Green Bay 59. Milwaukee 63 degrees and rain. I'm Connie Weber. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 10:08.
It's WTMJ Now. News, opinions, Wisconsin. Everything you need to know in the Badger State and beyond. Now, here's your hosts, Sandy Maxx and Steve Scafidi.
Good morning. In for Steve Scafidi today is WTMJ teammate and sportscaster extraordinaire Bob Brainerd.
My key fob still works to get into the building.
Yes, it does.
So I'm still a teammate.
Roll it right out. Roll out the red carpet for you. Thank you for joining me. You were perfect for Monday morning quarterback to review the Packers victory. And you're also a perfect person. I love that we can get silly and have fun, but that you're also a very serious professional and broadcaster, that we can talk about serious topics. And you'd mentioned that one of the first things you did today, because it's September 11th, is get out your American flag and hang it in a special way outside your door.
Yes, I hang it at half-mast, so like in remembrance, so different than just, hanging it like I normally would on 4th of July or Labor Day or Memorial Day. So yes, it's something that I do personally, and I will do the rest of my life personally on September 11th to remember and not forget that tragic event.
And there are events today in our area if you want to also remember in a more communal way. At 11:30 in Kewaskum at the 9/11 Memorial Center is going to be a ceremony, and it will be indoors at 11:30 in their annex, and it has a couple of speakers. And that is also, that whole Memorial Center was inspired because Andrea Haberman, was from Kewaskum and passed away in the 9/11 tragedies. And we got a text on the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620 from John, who texted, Sandy, I had Andrea Haberman as a high school student, and she was kind, caring, respectful to everyone. I will always remember Andrea as a happy young lady who always had a smile on her face. So John, thank you very much for sharing that memory. We welcome you to share yours. We won't spend a ton of time on this, but if you've got something that's meaningful that you want to share, we are all ears here with our WTMJ community. The Old National Bank talk and text line is 855-616-1620. And we welcome to the show Mabel in Oak Creek. You have a memory to share?
I do, Sandy. I'll try to make it the long story short. For several years before 9/11, I drove from Milwaukee to New York twice a year, February and October. And a friend of mine went to a commuter's mass from Long Island to New Jersey. This is a 10-minute mass. He introduced me to Father Michael Judge. And the February before 9/11, I had my poodle with me, and Father Michael had blessed my poodle. I had to put my poodle down the next month, and then in that September is when Father Michael perished in 9/11. It took a few years, but they deemed him victim number 1. Every year, I am privileged to locally read a list of some of the fallen victims from 9/11. And I'm not going to name her, again, I'm not going to give her name, but one of the ladies, one of the other civilians that gets to read names, her father perished in 9/11, and she always has a very difficult time getting through the list of names. And our lists are about 50 long of the 343 fallen responders, whether they be firefighters, paramedics, whatever it was from 9/11. And I'm glad to hear that people do lower their flags at half-staff. I was at the War Memorial this morning, watched the laying of the wreaths, and then my day went from there. And I just want people to always remember all those that gave their lives from something so tragic, and we just have to be able to grow and go positive from there. And the folks in Kewaskum, and whether it's here locally in Milwaukee or across the state, and have the special memorials and memories of our fallen heroes.
Mabel well said. Your voice still resonates from that day. I can tell that this still touches you to this day.
Yeah, when I had to, I was real good. I read my list of names, and Father Michael's was about halfway down there. And I read the list. I do that every time I go before, just to, time myself and everything else. Unfortunately, a young lady that read the list with her father's name on it from the get-go, she was just broken down. But she wanted to go. She didn't want somebody else to read that list. She wanted to do this. She had her little one with her, another family member with her, and she has the fire department of New FDNY jacket on. It wasn't her father's. It was a special one that she had gotten. And I was pretty good up until about 3 names before I read Father Michael's name, and then I read his name, looked up to the heaven, and then it took me like 2 names, and then I finally got myself back together. But we all grieve in our own way, our own time, and I remember when my friend from New York City had called me the day after 9/11, and I was working the Brewer's ticket office, and we got calls on the queue. And somebody says, you have a phone call. And it's like, I have a phone call. Who's going to call me here? And it was my friend from Long Island. And he told me, he says, I have something to tell you. And that was Father Michael perished in 9/11 yesterday. He went in with his department. And I've even, the few times after 9/11, I had gone out to New York, the February after 9/11, and went to pay my respects at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And there was some firefighters that were taking a break. There was a memorial fence set up, and I talked about Selig about it. There were some little baseball bears, and so he's familiar with the story as well. And the firefighter that was out there, he was somber, and I just touched him briefly, and I says, I'm sorry for your loss. And he says, me too. So, they all were affected. And I drove around the Battery Park in the back, and here comes a flatbed truck carrying out a twisted piece of steel, and I'll never forget that. And there's been a few times I've been to New York after that, but I haven't been out maybe in about a decade. I just, life goes forward, and I'll treasure my memories and and even at the lighter company that Father Michael was at, they have his helmet bronzed and a little tribute to him, which I thought was really quite adequate.
Mabel, thank you so much for continuing to be a comfort to people and for keeping these names alive every year. And thank you also for sharing your experience with us, and our heart goes out to you and the loss of Father Michael as well.
Thank you, Sandy. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening. Take care, Mabel.
Bye.
We are sharing stories and your experiences from September 11th. Bob and I are here till noon on WTMJ Now. So if you have a story that you want to share, you can always call or text us on the Old National Bank Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Old National Bank, get old. There's a big event in the technology world coming up tomorrow. And it makes me wonder how September 11th would have been different with the technology that we have now. We'll discuss that next.
More of WTMJ Now after this.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me as we count down to the RNC in Milwaukee. We'll talk to the biggest names across the political landscape. Ronna McDaniel, she is the chair of the Republican National Committee.
The American public really wants to see what Republicans are putting forward and what our plan is to turn the tide.
Full podcast available on WTMJ.com or text RNC to the Old National Bank Talk and Text line 855-616-1620 and get a link sent directly to you. It's the countdown to the RNC podcast, only here on WTMJ.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics are in-network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, and there have been thousands of patients that have received our pain relief treatment with zero out-of-pocket expense. Our FDA-approved treatments we'll use to remedy your pain are precisely guided to its root, to provide inflammation and cushioning relief to alleviate pain. What ends up happening is you begin on a pain maintenance plan, and how committed you want to be to alleviating your pain is up to you. But at the least, you can see us semi-annually to annually to, in many cases, significantly reduce pain in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees. I'm Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics. We can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life. It's pain relief, really. Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
The Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra is excited to launch its new season this month at the Bradley Symphony Center with Beethoven 5. Music director Ken David Mazur will conduct what promises to be an unforgettable program September 22nd through the 24th. Bass baritone Deshaun Burton, the MSO's 23-24 artistic partner, co-curated these concerts, which will open with Daniel Kadane's soul-searching orchestral work, Be Still. Plus, Mr. Burton will also be the featured soloist in works by Eleanor Alberga and Franz Schubert. Then, experience one of classical music's all-time greatest hits as the MSO performs Beethoven's searing Fifth Symphony. Ken David Mazur leads the MSO in Beethoven 5, September 22nd through the 24th only. Visit MSO.org for tickets or call 414-291-7605.
WTMJ Now.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be.
WTMJ Now, I'm Sandy Maxx, and filling in for Steve Scafidi today is WTMJ teammate and sportscaster Bob Brainerd, and there's no way to ignore September 11th, at least not in my world. This is the 22nd anniversary of the tragedy that happened in New York and Pennsylvania and at the Pentagon and affected lives around the country and around the world. And there are some remembrances today in Kewaskum at 11:30. Economowalk has a band performance from the American Legion Band at 7 o'clock in the band show. And then there's also a 9/11 memorial in the town of Lisbon. So there are places to go if you want to have a quiet moment or a moment to get together. And we heard from Mabel in Oak Creek, who had a profound story. And on the Old National Bank Talk and Text line, 855-616-1620, you're welcome to share your memories and experiences. And on the Tri-County Contracting Hotline, we welcome Bob from Waukesha with his story. Hello, Bob.
Morning, Bob.
Sam. Good morning to y'all. I thought I'd share this because it reflects positively on a few local companies during such a tragic event. I was working for Harley Davidson at the time, and I was kind of the twist in between what I might be able to do to positively impact on this cowardly act. And Harley Davidson decided they were going to donate over 30 motorcycles to various law enforcement agencies in the area. And in addition to that, to kind of add a personal touch, instead of shipping those motorcycles, we rode those motorcycles over there. And dependent upon where we were delivering the motorcycles and our perspective, we could see the smoldering of the collapse of the World Trade Centers. And we stayed in Staten Island, and in the lobby of the hotel, it was always full. There were always many people there with blank stares on your face on their face, and you could only imagine. And then lastly, what I wanted to mention is Midwest Airlines scheduled a specific flight for us to return us back to Milwaukee. And Harley-Davidson also donated $1 million to the American Red Cross.
Wow.
Great stuff, Bob.
That is inspiring, and it does show how people came together right after that. And great to hear that Harley did such an interesting way to help. Like I said, we were talking about, can I donate blood? How can I be helpful? So for them to identify that way to be helpful, and for you to be able to experience that, very, very wonderful. So thank you for sharing, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
And Holly, in Kenosha, you have a story about your September 11th experience?
I do. Thank you. And Sandy, I enjoy listening to you, and Steve Scapidi, by the way. Yes, I was I went to New Jersey in June of 2002 for a family wedding. I was 48 at the time. And, what do? You're going to visit New York City. I was on one of those boats that goes across the Hudson River, and I like to savor my experience. So I'm going to be the last one to get off the boat when I was met by two Port of Authority policemen, and they were not kind to me. They said, "Did you sleep on the boat?" And I said, "No, I was savoring the experience," and I voluntarily took out my identification. I had lived in the Chicago suburbs at the time, to show them I'm not here to cause trouble 800 miles away. They must have thought that I had a bomb, because why am I the last one to get off the boat? Then I was at Battery Park, and I saw all of the mementos, all of the souvenirs, all of the police and fire badges from literally all over the world. They were all displayed in Battery Park. I don't know where they ever transferred them to. And I shot all kinds of pictures. There are a lot of Chicago suburbs, as Milwaukee, that have unique names. So I knew the Chicago suburb, I knew it was when I saw the badge, like Milwaukee suburbs. Also, I met a lot of people in New York who told me they got smoke in their lungs. This is 9 months after 9/11. They are suffering with smoke in their lungs, and people who they know got smoke in their lungs. Also, I was in New Jersey. I was visiting Hoboken, New Jersey at the time, and I was able to look across the Hudson River to the east at Lower Manhattan. And I was able to recreate in my mind, those people in New Jersey saw New York burning.
Yeah.
And so that was quite an experience, and that was 9 months after 9/11. Also, I did not go to Ground Zero. Number one, I didn't think they wanted visitors at that time, number one. Number two, this was my first trip to New York City, and since I'd never been to the World Trade Center before, why would I go there now? So I did not go there, but that was quite an experience, and that was 9 months after 9/11, and people were pretty scared. They were pretty worried and security conscious, and I'm not used to this because it didn't happen in our neck of the woods, So they were very security conscious, and it was very, very, very uppity, very scary. And you haven't lived until you've been met by two Port Authority policemen. And like I said, they were not kind to me, but I understand that was for security. They must have thought I had a bomb or something on a boat. I don't know.
Thanks for the call, Holly.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Holly.
you sharing the stories.
Yeah.
The thing, Sandy, is that whether it's a touching story like we heard from Mabel, where it, still to this day you could hear the quiver in her voice, or Bob sharing the uplifting story of the aftermath. Doesn't matter where you are, if you were in Wisconsin and you never, or Holly who went and visited the East Coast, doesn't matter if you were there when it happened, somebody has a tie-in, somebody has a story. Everybody, it seems, has a story that ties them into 9/11, either when it happened or the aftermath. I I want to be careful because I don't want to say I love or I enjoy the stories because the stories come out of a tragic situation. But it does give you the sense that we all find a way to somehow heal and move forward by doing little things that to us we go, well, this is nothing. But to the folks, when you drive the motorcycles out there rather than just have them shipped, it meant every act that people did throughout the world, literally, to help the folks in New York at the time of the attack, or Pennsylvania, or the Pentagon. They will not forget that, and those are the stories that, again, I don't enjoy them, but it does help us heal, helps us go forward.
Helps us heal and hopefully inspires us to continue to see the best in people and to try to carry that forward into our lives now, 22 years later. You can still share your stories. Thanks for calling and texting so far. The Old National Bank Talk and Text line is open for you, 855-616-1620. Coming up soon, we'll talk with Annex Wealth Management's Dave Spano for a look at what's coming up financially this week and more. So stay with us.
More of WTMJ now after this. No, he's not going to put you in the lineup. But luckily, this is the closest you can get to the skipper himself.
I mean, Robin is the all-time brewer for sure.
Greg Council, every Tuesday on Wisconsin's Morning News at 7:45.
Willie is, I think a player that, is capable of taking down some of the things that Robin has done.
This is Brewers 360, presented by Holiday Automotive and Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Russ bought his first home in Wisconsin with a mortgage from Accunet when today's college freshmen were still in diapers. A few Friday mornings ago, Russ emailed saying he and his wife were ready to buy their forever home. And by 4 o'clock, we were all on a conference call with their real estate agent talking about what it would take to write a winning offer in today's inventory-starved market. And then it happened. They met their dream home face-to-face Saturday afternoon and wrote an offer $15,000 over asking, accompanied by an Accunet property-specific pre-approval letter that guaranteed they could make good on that offer without selling their existing home first and without requiring an appraisal. That's right, no appraisal required, which both the listing agent and seller loved. I can't promise your very first offer will be accepted like Russ and Julie's, but I will promise Accunet can help you and your agent craft the most attractive offer possible. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Get started with your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Breakthroughs aren't just for medical journals. They're to help people hold their grandbabies for the first time. Expertise isn't just for awards or recognition. It can be what gives people the best chance to walk again. At the Brainerd and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, people are the driving force behind everything we do. So we never lose sight of what's important. And we never forget who it's for. Because in the end, we're people helping people. That means every breakthrough, every clinical study, every interaction is to help people like you, your family, and your neighbors be the best they can be. We do everything possible because we see everything possible in you. To find out how compassion motivates world-class care, visit Brainerd.com.
WTMJ Now.
Good morning, I'm Sandy Maxx. Bob Brainerd filling in for Steve Scafidi this morning, and we're about to talk to Dave Spano of Annex Wealth Management. We check in with him every Monday about 10:35 because there's so much financial news. Now that I've started speaking with Dave regularly, I realize just how much financial news there is every single week with different, like the retailers announcing their reports as a bellwether for what to expect for the rest of the year and all that sort of thing. So we have a couple of topics to touch base with him on, a couple that I actually had my eye on. We just got the list of talking points that he definitely wants to discuss, and I see a couple on there that were already on my list. So I feel good. I feel smarter already that I'm in step with Dave Spano. But one of the things that I'm super curious about is tomorrow is the big Apple event. They actually call them Apple events. And
which one?
This one's going to be the new iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro. Now, I'm what I jokingly call a Luddite for you.
Explain that to the listeners.
Exactly. It's just a fancy way of saying
It's a made-up word.
Kind of live in a cave and lo-fi when it comes to technology. I am not an early adapter. I do not need the newest and best phone every single time it comes out. I have friends who get super excited and love to tinker around and play with. I practically married a guy who was like that, loved getting the new technology and playing with it. I am just not that person. But part of the thing that I see that is rumored with the new Apple event tomorrow is that, you know, how much they control our technology. You're either way into Android or way into iPhone usually. Well, they might be getting rid of the lightning charging cables that we all had to switch to.
What?
Yeah. And so that may be phased out, which would mean good things, that you'd have more universal charging. But now we're going to have a bunch of cords that we have nothing to do with now.
Of course, because then it's exclusive to Apple.
Proprietary.
And then you have to, yes.
Yeah. So, but a universal charging station, charging standard could make our lives easier, but we might have some technology that will still be lurking around. Are you an early adapter or a Luddite like me? Really?
No. And by the way, I have turned into the guy who puts it on the pad. Like I call it the lily pad.
Yeah.
Because it looks like that. If a frog would just go sit on it, and it charges that way. Because I got tired of the plug thing. Because it was like
so
in and
you
out,
don't
in and
even
out,
need
in and
that.
out. No. So I set it on the pad, and then I can take it off the pad to answer it.
You are more technologically advanced than I am. I am the person who still has the charger, and when it starts to get frayed, I use the white electrical tape. I will stretch the life out of anything. I've got a 2014 car. I've got I have an iPhone SE. I don't know what year that came out. And I got the SE because it was the most like the older phone that I had then. I think the 6.
I have a Galaxy 10, and I think that I'm dinosaur
yeah,
here.
So exactly.
You win. Sandy wins.
So we will find out what this Apple news means and other important things like the consumer price index, how it can affect you and your money, something that's very important. We want to help you out. And we'll talk with N.X. Wealth Management's Dave Spano next.
More of WTMJ now after this.
I'm not exaggerating when I say this. QC Kinetics can change your life. You can live again without that chronic joint pain and without drugs or surgery. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them right into your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue that's causing all of that horrible pain. Patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Finally, a real alternative to the old ways of dealing with pain. And unlike surgery, there is no downtime with QC treatments. If you have constant pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back, you have to give a call and get a free consultation from the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Imagine this fall, moving around pain-free, doing the things you love again, like walking, hiking, and playing with the grandkids. Call QC Kinetics and see how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack your pain and bring you lasting relief. Now is the best time to get started, and they're right here in Milwaukee. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Again, 414-285-3474.
It's here on consignment from over 10,000 nationwide partners. From very high-end, distinctive furniture, unique antiques and original art, to tasteful home decor that can fit almost any budget. Premium home decor priced right at 25 to 40% off retail prices. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Smart interior designers know that what they'll see here is going to be almost impossible to find anywhere else, especially at our consignment prices. Premium home decor that's gently loved and close to new. And what we carry can raise the wow factor of anyone's home decor. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
It's WTMJ Now.
Something very important to all of us is the money. I'm Sandy Maxx, and in for Steve Scafidi, who is luxuriating in Tuscany, Italy right now, is Bob Brainerd, WTMJ teammate and sportscaster extraordinaire. And it is our pleasure to welcome to WTMJ Now N.X. Wealth Management's Dave Spano. How are you, Dave?
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to talk to you guys today.
What kind of iPhone or Android phone do you have? Are you an early adapter, Dave?
Well, I will tell you, I did go get the 14 late last year, but I had an old one, and so it just the battery started to wear down and started to slow down. I just thought it was time, and so I did get a newer one. But as you know, they're going to 15 already, so I just can't keep up.
Well, and the 15 Pro, because Bob and I were just joking around about how I use my phones like I use my car. I'm going to take it as long as I can go. I don't need the newest, fancier model, but I know a lot of people do. So at this big launch event that's happening with Apple tomorrow, where they're supposedly debuting the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro, and then also maybe getting rid of their Lightning ports. Like, what effect will this have on finances this week?
Well, I'll tell you. Well, first of all, it's so ironic. This morning, my phone didn't charge, and the cable was cracked. So I went to Amazon and I bought a new charger cord. So it's a relevant story. But Apple is probably the most significant company in the world. You look at the valuation of the company, nearly $3 trillion with a T of enterprise value, and so it's significant when they make moves because the S&P 500, for example, is weighted by the value of the company. So the bigger the company, the more value it has on the index. And so, for example, if Apple or Google, if those stocks start to decline, that takes the entire index down with it. So it is a statistically important company. And as you know, over the years, as they get late into the year, September and October, they generally come out with a product launch. And that is for specific reasons, because people go into the end of the year, perhaps into Christmas or holidays, and they want to buy new products. So their timing is significant. And anytime Apple makes a move, it is interesting because it affects the entire S&P 500 and Dow Jones.
And will it have any effect on the companies that make Android phones? Because now, especially with this Lightning port getting rid of, all the phones are going to have the same charging ports.
But right now, Apple sells about 50% of the smartphones, so there's still room for other providers out there right now. So they are statistically significant. And you think about other phones like Android and other providers. In China, they are big purchasers of companies that are neither one of those. But China made a big story last week, with Apple saying that they were going to try to hold down some of their purchases and uses of what they can use on Apple phones. So, and that had a big effect on the stock price. So, you have to watch these stories. You can't overweight it. But when it's such a large valued company, it makes the indexes move, and then that makes everyone who has that index, for example, in their 401k plans, that has an effect on their account. So it is a story we need to watch.
So Dave, stay with me here. So I'm at a wedding this weekend, and we start talking about interest rates on home purchases. And
at a wedding? Come on, Bob. Really?
No, well,
I hope it was over a couple of cocktails.
It definitely was, and we were done talking about the Packers, so we moved on to interest rates, and it kind of turns into a game when you're among friends, which I was, where you're trying to see who got the best interest rate when they purchased their home, and then also people that are thinking about either refinancing or purchasing a new home. You kind of go around the room. It's almost like you're playing rock paper scissors. Who got the best interest rate. So with the folks that I know, they're all kind of wondering. They're leery about dipping their toes in the water. Is the interest rate going to go up? Where are we right now going forward as we head into the fall season?
All right, so great question. So, we went from effectively 0%, it was called ZIRP, zero interest rate policy, effectively 0 to 5.5%. That was a big move in just 18 months. Why did the Federal Reserve do that? Because inflation was at 9.5%. They had to slow that down. How do they slow it down? By raising interest rates. It not only brings demand down, but here, this is a perfect example. If you were in a mortgage and you were paying 2.5% or 3.5% or whoever won that rock, paper, scissors game, and now you go to 7.5% and 8%, well, now you have to say, do I want to trade in my 3% mortgage for a 7.5% mortgage? Because that has a significant change on your payment. So even though you might get a much more valuable house or much more expensive house, you're paying way more for it because the mortgage rates are up. And so part of raising interest rate is to slow down demand. The housing crisis The housing boom was just going crazy. But now when you lower it, when you raise interest rates, that slows down demand, and that is what they tried to do. So now we're going to hear when the Fed speaks next week that they're 95% chance. That's the people who watch this say they are not going to raise rates again. So if they are not going to do that, are they done raising rates? That seems to be the common knowledge, that they're done raising rates from 0 to 550. So that means they're going to stay where they are. And the term is higher for longer. In other words, rates are going to stay here for a while, probably into 2024, and then you'll see them to start come back down as the economy really starts to slow down and they want to accelerate it again. So rates are probably going to stay where they are for a while, and then into 2024, look for those rates to come back down.
And Dave, interesting this week, if you've ever used Instacart, you'll soon be able to invest in Instacart.
Yeah, so they filed for an upcoming IPO. That's a big story coming up, and so we'll see how they use those. That money that's coming out. But they have competition, of course, not only Instacart, but you think about, for example, Amazon, DoorDash, Grubhub, all of these, deliver products to the home. But that was kind of a pandemic era product that has been out there. Then you go to restaurants now and you got to wait in line. You got to get on the reservations. And so right now you're starting to see people get back out into restaurants. So it will be something we watch. But anytime you start to see IPO, that is something, because we haven't seen many IPOs in the last year. People have really left the market because of the uncertainty of, will we have a recession? What's going to happen? And now, of course, next year we go into election cycle, and that, of course, does cause concern on both sides of the aisle. So we'll have to see what turns out after that. So anytime you see an IPO, and the good news is, if IPOs start coming back, that'll be a good thing.
Dave Spano of Annex Wealth Management, we could talk to you for an hour. There's always more and more questions for you. You can hear Dave on their weekly show, Money Talk, heard here Saturdays at 10 a.m. on WTMJ. And you can go to annexwealth.com to know the difference. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Enjoy the day, guys.
Thank you, Dave.
And more of WTMJ now after this.
Are you getting ready to send your kids back to school? Griffin's Back to School Service Special has got you covered. We know you've got a lot on your plate, so let us take care of your car maintenance hassles. For just $129.95, we'll pamper your car from bumper to bumper. Our expert team will change your oil, inspect and rotate your tires, check the battery and air filter, and give you a complete multi-point inspection. But that's not all. We'll make sure you stay cool during those hot school pickups by checking your AC and even changing your wiper blades and keeping your view crystal clear on those rainy days. Get peace of mind knowing your car is in top shape while you focus on what really matters, your family. Visit one of 5 Griffin dealerships today and take advantage of our back to school service specials before it's too late.
It's WTMJ's Jeff Wagner for the senior real estate specialists at Bruce's team. If you've been holding off on selling your home or your parents' home in order to downsize into a condo or a senior community, you can capitalize on the market while it's still at this unprecedented peak and get top dollar for your home. You really should enjoy the lifestyle you deserve. And now is the time to contact senior real estate specialists Bruce and Jean Nemovitz, taking seniors from overwhelmed to I can do this. Find out how from Bruce and Jean, along with their team of experts, at the long-awaited return to their in-person seminar Tuesday, September 12th at the Florian in Germantown. Doors open at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to be there along with many great speakers, including Melinda Stewart to talk about the downsizing process, and Governor Martin Schreiber, who will discuss his book, My Two Elaines, all about navigating Alzheimer's with those you love. The seminar is free, but you do have to register at brucesteam.com or give Bruce and Jean a call, 262-242-6177. That's 262-242-6177.
For your new roof, we'll give you the hands-down best lifetime workmanship warranty in the industry. You can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
WTMJ Now.
It must be love, love, love. It must be love, love, love. Nothing more.
I may have to add this to the Jordan Love playlist.
Yeah, you went all out on the. You have like a Spotify, right? Playlist of all things love.
We do. I'm Sandy Maxx. The voice you hear is Bob Brainerd filling in for Steve Scafidi today, and we spent the first half hour of WTMJ Now celebrating yesterday's Packers victory with new quarterback Jordan Love. And yes, if you text the word love, L-O-V-E, text that to the Old National Bank talk and text line at 855-616-1620. We will send you back a link to our Jordan Love playlist, all songs that have love in them.
I've already got it on my...
Starting with The Love Boat, which was Bob's suggestion.
That was my suggestion, yeah. Because it is love, exciting and new. That's who Jordan Love is. He's exciting and new. Sandy, change is hard, right? You had, we mentioned earlier, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, 31 years of those two guys as your team's quarterback. 31, 3 decades.
Yeah.
There are people who weren't born
when the Packers really stunk.
Yeah, it was Don Majkowski.
I won't say stunk, when they struggled.
Yes, it was Don Majkowski, and he was pretty good too. But it was Don Majkowski who was before Brett Favre, and then he got injured, and then the rest is history. So change is difficult when you hitch your wagon to those two guys, and they have success like they had over 31 years.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little nudging to get in there, but embrace it. Let the kid showed that he was ready for the moment yesterday. I'll give him credit too. He was ready for the moment. He didn't look like chicken with his head cut off, running around like, oh, what do I do?
You want to hear my snarky comment?
Yes, please.
Because,
love snark.
Exactly. Well, because we had a quarterback who showed up for practice.
Oh.
All summer long.
Little shot there, little dig.
He showed up for practice, and he really showed everybody that he was applying himself and wanted to succeed.
Oh, and he played in the preseason,
yes.
too.
Oh,
what a concept.
Yay.
Practice. Get on the same page as your receivers.
Yay. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I watched, you watched at home alone. I watched at Buffalo Wild Wings with a group of football fans, and it was very fun to hear the cheers and to really have a good game.
It was
for Packers fans.
No, it was an entertaining football game. By the way, I sat on my deck, but I don't have the TV on the deck, so I have the TV in the family room.
Yeah.
But I open up the window where the screen is, so I could hear the audio, and then I sat on my deck with my feet up.
Sorry, when Bob says open the window, you're doing the cranking motion. Is it one of those
very visual.
old
Yeah.
spiral crank where
it's a newer window
where the windows angle out?
No, they angle like left to right, like vertically, but you crank it, and it cranked open.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on my deck, feet up. Maybe I had a cocktail, and then I'm looking through the screen so I can see the TV, and I can hear the TV because the screen is now open because it was so beautiful. When at kickoff time. So it's like, I can't. That's the one thing I hate about football starting in September. When it's a nice day like it was yesterday, I can't sit inside. So I had the best of both worlds. Bottom line is, I need the TV on the deck. I need that, so when it is nice, I can just sit there and not have to crank the windows open.
I think that's a good plan. I just will share with you one funny text because Twitter is fun when your team wins.
You mean X is fun?
X is more fun when your team
wins.
But someone named Alexis on Twitter on X last night sent this out. Stuff I heard on the long walk from Soldier Field to the Loop. that a guy took his jersey off, his Bears jersey off, and threw it in a garbage can.
Oh, boy.
And then a guy broke up with his Packer fan girlfriend because she was smiling too much.
A house divided.
I was saying that was already a difficult relationship, I'm sure, with the split there of the rivalry.
Yeah,
but
dude, it wasn't going to work
so,
anyway.
There are some texters who are saying it's just one game, calm down, but it's one game to relish and enjoy. So lean all the way in, and if you want to have a victory playlist, text the word LOVE, LOVE, to the Old National Bank Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. We'll send you a link back to our fun Spotify playlist of songs with love in them that'll give you a smile.
I'm driving into work and I hear Rick Springfield. Love.
You gotta love somebody.
No, yeah, love somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like a sign, and then there was like something else came out. I'm just like, I didn't even put this together. This is like rando music
That's
playing,
funny.
and I heard like 2 or 3 songs.
I put this one together, but I can add more songs to it.
Go
so
for it.
I will. I've got to add Madness now that Charlie played it. You had a funny thing that you found on Reddit that was. Did you still want to chat about the evolution?
You want to do it now? You want to do it after the break?
Okay.
We'll do it after. Right?
Here's our question
We'll set
to you.
the table.
Is
Yes.
there anything that you used to do that either involved patience or involved a whole lot of fun that now there's just no way you do it? You're over it.
Yeah. Are you tired of it?
What's that activity? Whether it's, we won't give you examples just yet, but because I love the creativity of our WTMJ community. So think about if there's something that you used to do when you were a bit younger that you were all about and there's no way you'd do it now, or you'd love to do but you're just not in the mood anymore. The Old National Bank Talk and Text line is open, 855-616-1620. Old National Bank, get old, and we'll get old and get over it with you next.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Hi, there is an accident on I-43 northbound.
Call me, Debbie Lazaga, at the hallmazda.com traffic tip line at 414-238-9329.
Hi, Debbie. It's Michael. Just drove through the area of 894 West. There's debris in the roadway.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it?
I'm sitting here at I-43 north of Silver Spring. It's a parking lot.
Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Well, it's the longest running music gig in Milwaukee's history. It's been over 43 years now, and I guess you could say, we love Jeff Stoll. He's here weekly playing a mean piano and singing all the kind of hits that you'd hope to hear at a genuine Wisconsin supper club. And at the Packing House, that's what we're committed to, being a genuine supper club, with hopes that people from all over southeastern Wisconsin and beyond make a point of visiting at least once. You'll hear great live music here every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night. And for some people, a seat at the bar in our vintage lounge listening while having a couple of classic cocktails is just enough for a nice evening out. And for others, it's that, plus one of our award-winning steak entrees. But there's much more than steak on our expansive menu. With live music, a vintage lounge, classic cocktails, and a genuine supper club menu that runs the gamut, how can you go wrong? This is Chris Wyken, inviting you to enjoy deliciousness from scratch at the Packing House.
Deliciousness from scratch. That's the Packing House.
Across from the airport on Layton.
At Staples, school savings are always in session, from art supplies and essentials to the latest tech. In stock and priced low. School on, save on at your local Staples store.
Russ bought his first home in Wisconsin with a mortgage from Accunet when today's college freshmen were still in diapers. A few Friday mornings ago, Russ emailed saying he and his wife were ready to buy their forever home. And by 4 o'clock, we were all on a conference call with their real estate agent talking about what it would take to write a winning offer in today's inventory-starved market. And then it happened. They met their dream home face-to-face Saturday afternoon and wrote an offer $15,000 over asking, accompanied by an Accunet property-specific pre-approval letter that guaranteed they could make good on that offer without selling their existing home first and without requiring an appraisal. That's right, no appraisal required, which both the listing agent and seller loved. I can't promise your very first offer will be accepted like Russ and Julie's, but I will promise Accunet can help you and your agent craft the most attractive offer possible. Hey, don't settle for a flimsy, unimaginative bank pre-approval. Get started with your rock-solid, guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button today at accunet.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. WTMJ Now.
The epic and talented And recent birthday boy, Rick Springfield.
Oh, I thought this was Dr. Noah Drake singing.
It is. Same, one and the same.
Oh, they're the same?
Yes.
Did not know that.
Playing love songs today on WTMJ Now, and we even have a love song list in honor of Packers quarterback Jordan Love and his victory yesterday. If you want that playlist, you can text it LOVE to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620. I think I have to add that song to the list.
Please do.
I'd be glad to. I'm Sandy Maxx. Bob Brainerd
I'm
filling
Bob Brainerd.
in for Steve Scafidi today. And we just had a quick question just for some fun because we have been having 9/11 remembrances, and we also welcome you to share your memories and thoughts about that day on the Old National Bank talk and text line. But we also found a fun article about what are you kind of over? What
Done with,
What are
yeah.
you past?
Yeah.
And maybe you feel like you're a little old for it. You used to love to do it, but just now, as the old meme used to go, ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly.
Like you wouldn't get up early to do this, or you just wouldn't even think of doing it now. Just some of the answers before we really set up the question to entertain you, Bob, from the 414 hitchhike.
Oh, you know, I did that in college.
Ooh, see, but you wouldn't do it now. You're over it.
Of course. I'm way over it.
Of course you wouldn't, yeah.
But I got some great stories out of it, and people said I was crazy, and I was like, yeah, but I got home.
That's adventure. That's adventure. And then 414 just texted, in my early 20s, I thought taking a bus to Ozfest was so fun. Beer on a bus. I am now 41, and you couldn't pay me enough to ride on a party bus.
Right. The beer part, yeah, but not the beer on the bus.
And all the things that come with that. So Bob set up this. Well, I think we've set it up pretty well.
Yeah, we kind of set. I saw this on BuzzFeed over the week. BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, and they posed the question: what are you simply getting too old for? What are you tired of dealing with? And some of the so here's one. I'm tired of the grocery store being a social club. Now I order online and pick up at the parking lot. A lot of people do that because they're just lazy, but that's a new angle there, that they're tired of the conversations and people going there to chat. I'm really over when people go to the gym and they have the social club. Because to me, it's like, you're here to work out. You're not here to stand next to the elliptical. Get on the elliptical. If you want to chat forever, then go to the supermarket, apparently, because that's going on. Go to Starbucks and have the chat.
Yeah.
But don't do it
by the elliptical that I want to get on,
right?
Because I'm here on a mission,
and it's why people get earbuds, because they want to drown that out. But I still see them; they stand there, and it's like, this is not what the gym is for. That's what the coffee houses are for. So we could rename this segment "Grumpy Old Men." I get that.
No,
I
we're not
understand
gonna
that.
call it that.
But again,
I think the interesting angle was because I'm a rock and roller, and there are a lot of things that, for example, I just went to a Duran Duran concert the Friday before
Lucky you.
Labor Day. It was a birthday splurge. I bought myself a ticket. But I realized as I was standing, I used to go to general admission shows, and I couldn't get close enough. Didn't matter how many hot and sweaty people I was standing next to. The guy with B.O. didn't matter. I'm right up there with the band. Now it's like, I don't need to be in the third row, smashed up against
and can you people in
funky
front
people.
Can you sit down? Because it's ordinary world. You don't have to stand for ordinary world.
No, I'm a stander.
So.
I'm a stander.
Are you?
If I had 20th row for this Duran show, so there was no way I can't be contained.
Okay.
I can't
Understood.
bend my knees. I need to stand and see. But I'm in assigned seats. We're not all smashed up against each other.
Right. You're over that.
So I'm over that. I don't call that grumpy old gal. I'm just
you're just over that.
Kind of like the beer bus.
Here's another one, and I agreed with this from the BuzzFeed article. Daylight saving time.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a problem when it became dark early, but this past fall I was honestly offended. I hope next year is better. No, it's going to happen again unless we get rid of daylight saving time. But I'm kind of that way too. I could care less. I used to like it when we would pick up an hour and you pick up bar time. Yay, more bar time.
One more hour.
Stay out later.
Yeah.
Now it's so annoying.
It's an inconvenience.
It is.
One more on this. I'm old and I'm over it. Bob, John texted in two for you. One, John texted in tequila. And then he followed that up with, oh my God, the health club thing is spot on. I go to the health club to swim, and nothing drives me more crazy than when people are walking in the lanes and talking, so I can't swim. So
Amen.
You're on to something there.
I'm all over that.
News is next.
It's WTMJ Now.
It's WTMJ's Steve Scafidi for Panoramic CBD. Whether you're looking to reduce anxiety, pain, depression, or just need to relax, Panoramic CBD has the best products for everyone's needs. They farm, process, test, and package their own CBD products, hence the slogan from soil to oil. By overseeing every stage of the process, Panoramic CBD eliminates the middleman, ensuring unmatched quality throughout. To offer you the best CBD products at the best prices for you and your pets. Shop local. Shop Wisconsin. From soil to oil, PanoramicCBD.com.
Power of attorney is one of the most important documents in your estate plan, and it's best to work with a professional to create it. I'm Dr. Aaron Armstrong with Steinbrenner Financial Group. Learn more about this and our upcoming free estate planning seminar at steinbrennergroup.com.
Selling a home is stressful, difficult, and costly. The repairs, the showings, the months it takes. But there's an easier way, and you have nothing to lose to try it out. Grandview Homes will buy your home today completely as is. Call or visit grandviewhomes.com.
The place you want to go, Lynch McWanago.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Keeping you informed, keeping you safe, keeping you engaged and entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11:01, we have 63 degrees and rain. We're going to have rain most of the day, off and on. High today, 65 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. I'm Connie Weber. Solemn tributes taking place today on the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks. They began in New York City at Ground Zero, where the World Trade Center's Twin Towers were destroyed and nearly 3,000 people were killed. Meanwhile, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was at the Pentagon Memorial remembering the 64 on the plane and 125 people on the ground killed. Local leaders gathered in downtown Milwaukee this morning to reflect and remember.
As taps played and a rifle salute rang out on a rainy Monday morning at Milwaukee's War Memorial Center, local leaders reflected on the meaning of 9/11 22 years later. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson tells WTMJ,
Democrats and Republicans coming together on the steps of the Capitol or out in the country after a terrible event like that. If we could do that then certainly we can do it now.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
First responders in northeast Wisconsin paid tribute to those lost during the attacks. Those first responders climbed more than 2,000 steps at Lambeau Field for the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb. Julie Henneberry's father, Lieutenant Peter Friend, died in the North Tower on 9/11. She tells NBC affiliate WGBA.
It's nice to know people so far away from New York still care, even after 22 years.
Those attending the event climbed in groups of 343, honoring the 343 first responders killed on the day of the attacks. Change could be coming to the village of Big Bend in Waukesha County after the village board voted to disband its police department Thursday. 3 full-time and several part-time officers would be eliminated by the change, which village board members say would save around $200,000 per year. Josh Grover was one of 2 village trustees to oppose the change and tells TMJ4 News his concerns.
I know it's the savings. I understand it. You know, we're a small village, but it's not worth it because you're losing people that are saving this, watching this village. They're a great service. They know the people.
If a contract is signed, the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department would take over the police services. New temporary firearms ban announced by New Mexico's governor over the weekend, now facing a number of challenges from both open carry advocates and local leaders. ABC's Victor Oquendo has more from Albuquerque.
Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham issuing a 30-day ban on carrying firearms in Albuquerque and its surrounding county. That order suspending both open and concealed carry, excluding law enforcement and licensed security.
The governor saying no one in New Mexico, and particularly Albuquerque, is safe, but enforcing this ban will be a challenge. The chief of police says he won't, and the county sheriff said he has his reservations.
Packer fans smiling on this wet and gloomy Monday thanks to the team's big win over the Chicago Bears.
I don't think anything could have went any better.
ESPN Milwaukee's Mark Tauscher says thanks to new QB Jordan Love and a dominant defense, the Packers' victory was about as sweet as they come.
It just looked like this team had more of an edge. It looked like we're physical, we're chippier, we're better, and they just went out and showed it.
And if you combine that with the misery of Bears fans,
it just was a perfect day.
Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. In the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, the Dow is up 26 points, S&P 500 up 15, and the NASDAQ Composite up 80. Get on track with investment and retirement planning. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button today. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
Business insurance continues to get more complex. Here's Jeff Salasinski, VP of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance.
Thanks, Vince. Does your business operate domestically and internationally? R&R Insurance, alongside Assurex Global, provides risk management and business insurance for any industry located anywhere in the world. Together, we have access to specialized, local, and international expertise with our 100-plus partners worldwide. We service locally and reach globally. Can your current agent align resources on the ground in Europe, Asia, Latin America, and North America? Are you confident you're being properly protected?
So, Jeff, what's the solution?
R&R Insurance has been a shareholder in Assurex Global for over 20 years. When you work with R&R and Assurex Global, you can be assured that you're working with a best-in-class global insurance firm. At R&R Insurance, we know domestic and international business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
Radio guy emeritus Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need. Enjoy summer while it lasts, folks, because you know what's coming down the pike. Cold weather and high heating bills. It's not too soon to start thinking about new windows and doors from Hometown. They have options that fit every home, every style, and every budget, even yours. Their huge New Berlin showroom has the area's largest display of replacement windows, doors, and patio doors from national brands like Anderson, Pella, Marvin, Softline, and more. In wood, Fibrix, fiberglass, and vinyl with scads of features including Wonder of Wonders, blinds inside the glass. What's more, Hometown offers you dedicated project consultants with products installed by Hometown's own employee carpenters. Stop in today or call 414-329-1200 or go to hometownwindows.com. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update.
NFL football is officially back as the Green Bay Packers rolled into Chicago and stamped their statement in a Week 1 win, dominating the Bears by a final score of 38-20.
Four-man rush. Love has Jones in stride. Aaron Jones racing to the end zone, and he's in! Touchdown, Green Bay!
Love completed 15 of 27 passes for 245 yards, including 3 scores. The 1-0 Packers will now shift their focus to Week 2 as they get set to travel down south to take on the Falcons. The Milwaukee Brewers suffered a deflating loss on Sunday. Corbin Burns threw 8 no-hit innings, and the team took the no-hitter all the way into the 11th inning, but the Yankees do walk it off in the 13th by a final score of 4-3. Milwaukee and Miami tonight from AmFam Field. Coverage gets underway right here on WTMJ beginning at 6 p.m. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Taking a look at your roads with your Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver traffic. The only delays right now, that construction area I-43, it's southbound between Brown Deer Road and downtown. Normally about an 11-minute drive. That'll take you about 16 minutes. Northbound seems to be okay. That's running about 12 minutes this morning.
Traffic is sponsored by Trees on the Move. From planning to planting, it's Trees on the Move. We all look forward to outdoor living in Wisconsin. From planning to planting and everything in between, now is the perfect time to let Trees on the Move beautify your landscape.
Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. We've got a rainy Monday ahead, off and on rain this afternoon. High 65 and an overnight low tonight 55. Chance for morning showers tomorrow, partly sunny, high 67. Sunny Wednesday, 64 to 70 for the high. Sunshine Thursday, high 71. Mostly sunny Friday with a high 77. Madison 59, Green Bay 59, Milwaukee rain in 63. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 11:08.
It's WTMJ Now. News, opinions, Wisconsin. Everything you need to know in the Badger State and beyond. Now, here's your hosts, Sandy Maxx and Steve Scafidi.
Good morning. I am Sandy Maxx, and filling in for Steve Scafidi as he roams Italy with a group of WTMJ fans is the one and only Bob Brainerd.
He's in Tuscany, right?
Yes.
See, I heard that and I knew that, and all I can think of is the Seinfeld episode.
With the maestro?
With the maestro, right? Charlie agrees with me. Charlie agrees. Like Tuscany, I don't know why. No, I know why, because it's Seinfeld, and This is how you relate life. You hear Tuscany, you don't think about how beautiful it is.
Sure.
And what a wonderful place it is. You think about the maestro. Well, if you're looking for a place to rent, there's nothing available. It's like, my mind is just warped, Sandy. Help me.
Well, then I bring it back to Wisconsin because the maestro was played by Mark Metcalf.
Mark Metcalf.
Who you also saw in Animal House as
Yes.
Niedermeyer. But Metcalf lived here like 15 years ago. He lived
yeah.
here for a while. He was co-owner of a restaurant called Libby Montana.
Correct.
And now he lives in Montana, which is life imitating art. I don't know, but just you couldn't find a more fun fella than Metcalf. Just full of great stories, and knew Carrie Fisher in New York back in the day. But never always told stories because there was something funny about them. Didn't tell stories because he's like, you know who I know.
Is that a pledge pin on your uniform?
Yeah. So you
Don't
take
get me
it to
started.
Seinfeld. Exactly. That's funny. So yes, Tuscany, I think of him squeezing tomatoes. I feel like he's
God, I hope
the
so.
tomato connoisseur now. But yeah, so we miss Steve Scafidi. He'll be back next Tuesday. But in the meantime, we are going to have some fun on WTMJ Now. And we're also going to make sure that we are living up to now. News, opinions, Wisconsin, or news, opinions, and why it matters. On a day like today, September 11th, it matters in so many ways. And it is a reminder of how sometimes the very worst things can bring out the best in people. And we've heard some very inspiring stories, and we welcome you all day to share your thoughts and remembrances and the impact that September 11th has had on you. The Old National Bank talk and text line is just a few digits away, 855-616-1620. Old National Bank, get old. And James in Kenosha took the time to text in and say, good morning. I had a profound experience when visiting a cemetery in Long Island. Next to the gravesite we were visiting was an area of the fallen from Long Island. And there were memories left at gravesites by children for their fathers. My first thought was to take a picture, and immediately I changed my mind as I felt it would have been too invasive. I can't exactly explain my emotions, but it truly brought this horrific act to reality, not just something that I read about or saw on TV. And yet that is interesting, that is kind of inexplicable. Like, you're not really invading someone's privacy, but that really is deep. People trying to find that connection after having their lives abruptly changed.
I've heard many stories, Sandy, and I'm sure you have too, of people who visit the memorial in New York or something like this, and they go in thinking that it's not going to affect them, that it's going to be, well, I'll just go visit, like it's a touristy thing, right? And they go into with that mindset, and then they get there, and it is almost like an out-of-body experience where they are just overcome with emotion, and it hits them unexpectedly, which I guess is the point, so that people don't forget, so that the memory lingers. But when it affects somebody who doesn't go in thinking this is really going to affect me, and it does, just tells you about the powerful aspect of what that moment was on 9/11.
And I've been to the museum, but I haven't been in the museum because my heart already gets smushed by standing around the fountain. And it's a very, very, the hustle and bustle of New York, it is very peaceful and very quiet by this fountain with all of these names etched in, and you'll see a rosebud tucked into a name. And people are very quiet there. And the visit that I had, it wasn't a special day, but there were two bagpipers from the police band playing. It's just, there's always a remembrance there. So it's already a heavy space for me outside to be at that observation pond. I know going inside would be just too much for me.
Interesting you say that. Daley Plaza in Dallas, JFK shooting, went there years ago, and again didn't like let's just go see where the bookstore is, right? And let's just go, touristy thing. And you get there, and as you mentioned, the eeriness of it and the quiet where people, they're not standing, hey, selfies and everything. It gets people to shut up for a moment and just take it all in. And to me, that's what I noticed was, why is everything just almost stopping in this moment? Because people, they think about where was I? Where could I have been? What would it have been like to be at? It was almost like a movie set, Sandy. Like, it didn't seem real. Like, they built this, right? But it was, and it makes you stop and makes you give pause, as it does with 9/11.
And tell how the world changed in that moment, in that space.
Absolutely.
And then you and I had talked about it briefly on the air before of what would September 11th have been like now with social media. Because one of the things that I know we have now on the bottom of all of our news screens, that was when the scroll started, because they were scrolling names of victims and missing people. And that was just a nonstop scroll. And that was where this whole 24/7 news cycle was truly addictive, because you just were trying to put this together, that this was real and how could this happen and what's the latest information and who's accountable and and what's the progress being made. And there was just so much to this jaw-dropping, earth-shattering story.
You couldn't turn your TV or your radio off.
No.
I remember that too.
You also couldn't stub your toe, because I remember like, ow, it's like, oh, no. You doesn't matter that you stubbed your toe. People have lost lives. People are looking for people. No. I remember like stupid stuff like that where I'd be like, oh, I just cut myself as I'm chopping the onions. It's like, doesn't matter. Suck it up. You are not having a bad day. You are not. This is nothing. This is nothing.
Well, as we've heard with the stories today, Sandy, people don't forget. And I think some people have taken these lessons that they have learned. Stubbing the toe, perfect example. They have taken lessons, even though it's 22 years later, and they've held on to them. They didn't just do it the first year or the second year. It's like sometimes this lingers long enough that it's like, I'm going to make this a part of my lifestyle to not be as crabby about little things when there were bigger things that happened on that day, and to also to not forget them, to just not tuck it away and say, well, that's history now, because it is history now. And we've talked about how there are people that weren't around that are old enough now that they're going back, they're rewinding the tape literally to try to find out what that day was like. But for those of us that were around and that we do remember, we don't forget. And that was the motto, of course, don't ever forget.
Right. And thank your first responders, your firefighters, all of them, because, wow, that brotherhood and sisterhood took a huge loss. Huge loss, because those are the people who run towards the danger. There are a few events that we can share with you that we know that are going on in Wisconsin today. About 10 minutes from now in Kewaskum, Remembrance event is going to begin at the Wisconsin 9/11 Memorial and Education Center. It will be indoors in their annex, and the focus of this year's event is on volunteerism and the important role of emergency medical services. And they have two guest speakers, Catherine Pample. She's a U.S. Navy gunner's mate vet, and she's currently a volunteer emergency medical technician with the Village of Kewaskum, full-time EMT with Lifestar. And the keynote speaker is Martin Nystrom. He served as the president of the Maplewood, New Jersey Volunteer First Aid Squad, and he's going to share his experiences as a Ground Zero search and rescue coordinator on September 11th, 2001, and the days following. That event begins in 10 minutes, but I imagine it'll be going on for a while. It is indoors, and this is also the space WTMJ Cares in 2018 got behind this effort. There's a steel beam from the North Tower that's the centerpiece of this Wisconsin 9/11 memorial, and a lot of it was due to Kewaskum resident Andrea Haberman, who Vince Vitrano went to high school or St. Norbert's with. Just all of these touch points, but Andrea was killed in those attacks. So very glad and proud that WTMJ was part of this Raise the Beam effort and can help this memory and this mission live on. Also in Economowalk tonight at 7 o'clock, the Economowalk American Legion Band is going to perform a free 9/11 remembrance concert in the band shell. That will start at 7 o'clock. And then there's also a 9/11 memorial in Lisbon. Not sure if they have any events planned there in particular, but it does seem like the rain is going to clear out around 3 o'clock in Economowalk and in the Lisbon area. So cloudy, but still worth stopping by and paying your respects.
Educational. Again, powerful moments. If you're cloudy on the events because you're too young or you don't remember anymore because it has been 22 years, you take a little refresher course with people who Sandy just mentioned. And that's all you need to do is to kind of get the batteries recharged. That'll bring it back into focus of what this event was all about and make it more personal for you.
And hopefully bring our country back together again, which would be very, very useful. And it is one of those times, I always say it on those awful days in the news, hug your loved ones tighter. So if there's somebody you've been meaning to get in touch with today, that's also a good thing to do. Send a text or make a call.
Amen.
Sandy Maxx, Bob Brainerd filling in for Steve Scafidi on WTMJ Now.
More of WTMJ Now after this. While you rest on the weekends, we work for you. Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. The latest in news.
Time to check in with Mark Hass, editor-in-chief of the Milwaukee Business Journal.
There's a big need for money in Milwaukee.
Entertainment.
Matt Miller from OnMilwaukee.com.
I've had enough Aaron Rodgers to last me a lifetime.
And more.
We got a busy show today.
Every Sunday morning starting at 8 on WTMJ.
Where are we putting that money, and why are we putting it there? At Financial Strategies, you'll get answers to those questions to understand our approach. And the answers are going to be based on what we've learned about you. We're very engaged with our clients so that what we do for them fits their particular needs. But there are other things that we do that are equally important to the investment management portion of our services. I can't express how important it is to control the things you can control. At the end of the day, most investment managers will end up yielding similar overall returns. But knowing how to manage them wisely to avoid your nest egg being eaten away by the tax man, all legally of course, well, that's what I truly believe sets us apart. This is Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., and we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores has once again been voted the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel's Best in Thrift. So to all our loyal customers who voted for us, thank you. And to all who haven't been here yet, we know we have a treasure or two that will intrigue you. And at thrift store prices, you know you're going to get a great deal. And at the same time, you'll be helping us help others. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd in Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
To the best crew in baseball, this is for you. Join Brewers Fan Appreciation Weekend September 15th through the 17th. As a special thank you, enjoy buy one, get one beer on Friday the 15th. Gate giveaways all weekend, including 2024 Brewers ticket vouchers and a Fan Appreciation Night William Contreras bobblehead giveaway on Saturday the 16th. Grab your seats at brewers.com/fan appreciation.
WTMJ Now.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see.
In honor of Packers quarterback Jordan Love.
He was extraordinary. Nat King Cole, ladies and gentlemen.
Bob Brainerd filling in for Steve Scafidi on WTMJ Now, and he has chosen the love songs that you have heard throughout the morning. So much so, we had fun with it, and we've made a Jordan Love playlist that you can listen to yourself to soak in the victory. If you want to have that playlist texted to you, then text the word love. All you got to text LOVE to the Old National Bank Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Let's put some music in your Monday to celebrate the Packers' victory.
We did, too.
And you know, another sport that has love in it is tennis.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Aces and love. I got excited when I saw that in the U.S. Open, I don't hang on every swat of the tennis racket.
Not every grunt.
No,
right?
No, but I am excited. There are a couple of players that I follow, and to see that young Coco Gauff won the U.S. Open.
Yeah, she's 18, what? 19 years old.
19.
There's a video that's circulating on social media after she won, Sandy.
Yeah.
When she's 8 years old. And she's at the U.S. Open as a spectator. She's got the little pigtails, little tennis outfit on. So she was, playing when she was 8. But she's dancing in the stands. And she's getting into the whole vibe of the U.S. Open. and so here's the video. Well, here she is when she's 8. 11 years later, she wins the stupid thing. Not stupid, but yeah. I mean, it's the parallels. It's incredible. I mean, she was meant for that moment when she was 8 years old, that someday she'd be on center stage.
She's an impressive athlete. I happened to be in London in summer of 2019 and did the general admission Wimbledon thing. So you go late in the afternoon. Well, but that's how you do it as a regular plebeian citizen. You get the general admission ticket. You go in the afternoon because supposedly a lot of the people leave
Right.
halfway through the day. So that's your opening. So went and had a just glorious, epic British experience with the strawberries and cream and all that good stuff.
Did you have the strawberries and cream?
You gotta.
You gotta? Okay, good
if I
for
didn't, you gotta go back.
Right,
Yeah.
I'd slap you.
I would say it's like going to a Lambo and not having a brat, right? You
Right.
know? So the craziest thing happened, though. When you wait for these general admission tickets at Wimbledon, you can shuffle in and shuffle out of these different huge matches, but you can only go in when somebody else leaves. As chance would have it, I was at the match where Coco Gauff beat Venus Williams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You picked a good one.
Yeah. And epic. So obviously she caught my attention then, but who would know? And what a strange situation for her to be in. You know, the joke is don't meet your heroes. She just beat one of her heroes.
Absolutely.
So even though she won and was thrilled to move on, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, oh, you know, and that had to have been a weird position for this teenager to be in. But it's paying off. Do you think she has a bright future ahead of her? She's certainly started off gangbusters.
I don't know, Sandy. I think that's the question, that if you follow tennis or if you're just the casual fan that you dipped in to watch her to see if she would win, let's see now if she has sustainability. Let's see if she can turn into, and not to put pressure on her, but can she turn into a Venus or Serena? And I'll even go back to the earlier days when I would follow Wimbledon, U.S. Open, you know, the whole circuit, and you had the sustainable stars, McEnroe, Jimmy Connors, Yvonne Lendl, Bohr. You know, they were sustainable. They won and they sustained for a long. Boris Becker.
Yeah, I was a big Boris Becker fan back in the day.
And then, you know, on the women's side, you know, Chris Everett, Martina. You know, so I think, especially from an American tennis standpoint, you're looking for sustainability. You're hoping that she can have a career like the women that we just mentioned and like the Williams sisters. Again, you don't have to be them. It's kind of like Jordan Love. He doesn't have to be Favre or Aaron Rodgers. He has to be himself. Coco needs to be herself. But can she sustain and have success? Because she's going to be hounded now. It's like when you win the Masters in golf. That's on your resume the rest of your life. You turn into a different person, a different golfer. She just turned into a different tennis player. She's going to be in more demand. She's going to have endorsements. But can she sustain those? Can she sustain the life that goes with winning the U.S. Open and not just be a star off the court, but can you win on the court so that you keep sustaining? I keep using the word sustainability, but that's really.
But you're making the point that can you go the distance?
It's what it boils down to. Yeah, can you do this over the long haul? The Williams sisters did. Martina did. Chris Everett did. Can Coco do that? Can she handle sustainability and have a long and successful career? We shall see.
I hope so.
I do too.
I'm excited.
America
for her.
hopes so.
Represent.
Yeah, please.
What are you going to be watching tonight on TV? We have that question for you next.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Hey, Wisconsin, winter is right around the corner. Get your house ready before the cold hits. WTMJ's Jeff Wagner here for Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase, brought to you by senior real estate specialists Bruce and Jean Nemovitz, Hair Construction, Current Electric, Outdoor Living Unlimited, and Kohler Services. Join us every week to discuss ways to weatherproof your home here on News Radio 620 WTMJ. If you can't catch us live, visit Wagner's Home Improvement Showcase under Features on WTMJ.com.
Be proactive so you're not freezing at home this winter. Your walls are drafty. Retrofoam of southeastern Wisconsin can fill your walls with foam insulation. It's all done from the exterior of your home without any hassle or mess. The entire process only takes a day, and Retrofoam of southeast Wisconsin offers a lifetime warranty and property protection guarantee. Retrofoam of southeastern Wisconsin takes pride in its customer service and efficiency. Get 20% off if you call by the end of September. Just search online. Retrofoam of southeast Wisconsin.
At Annex Wealth Management, we believe every portfolio tells a story. After all, we've analyzed thousands. Some reflect diligence and fortitude, others a mishmash of overlapping investments. When Annex reviews your portfolio, we spot what works, what might not, and then provide unbiased suggestions free from sales commissions. Every portfolio tells a story. Let's work on yours. Investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. As a fee-only fiduciary, that's our story. Head to annexwealth.com.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating taste come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts, and we do have breaking news this morning in the world of television. The Walt Disney Company and Charter Communications announcing a transformative agreement for distribution of ESPN, among other channels. The Disney lineup of networks will be back for Spectrum viewers once again. The two CEOs, Bob Iger and Chris Winfrey, announcing the agreement this morning just in time for Monday Night Football. Cable subscribers will have access to ESPN, ESPN Plus, and the remainder of the Disney channel of networks. Again, the breaking news this morning, the Disney and Spectrum dispute has come to an end. I'm Adam Roberts, News Radio 620 WTMJ.
It's WTMJ Now.
I'm Sandy Maxx, filling in for Steve Scafidi today. On this Victory Monday after the Packers game is sportscaster and WTMJ teammate Bob Brainerd.
Present.
And accounted for.
All of the above.
Yay! So that breaking news.
Good news for football fans,
Yeah,
right?
I was just going to say, we joked around just before rejoining with you. Hey, what are you going to watch on Monday night?
Not thinking that if you have Spectrum, I ain't watching nothing, right? But Adam Roberts coming through in the clutch here.
Yeah, breaking news that the Spectrum deal is now resolved. And we got from Diana Nakanamawak, she texted in, the Jets game, of course, if I can find it on Spectrum. And you now can.
Now you can.
Now you can. So I assume you have an eye on it. Lorian Fond du Lac texted in on the Old National Bank talk and text line, 855-616-1620, that she's going to be watching the Jets game. So this answers my question. I didn't know how much WTMJ fans cared. Because I was at Buffalo Wild Wings watching the game on the big screen last night with a bunch of other football fans, and there were a couple of video montages explaining the rivalry and history of the Bears and the Packers against each other. And every time Aaron Rodgers was on the screen for an extended amount of time, I expected somebody to have a response, to have a reaction.
To boo?
To boo.
Or to cheer? Or
to just have some smarty pants, funny comment.
Yeah.
Like, who? You know, Aaron who? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
There was no response whatsoever.
It's kind of a... So when people tune in, and I'll tune in. Are you tuning in? Are you watching some of the game tonight?
I don't see how I can't.
Okay.
Curiosity gets the best of me. Like
That's it.
I even watched Tom Brady ring the bell yesterday before.
Yeah,
the,
whatever.
I mean, but
yeah.
I just mean like out of care. Like it caught my eye. I'm like, what's Tom Brady doing? Oh, he's ringing the bell before the Patriots game in the rain. So
over Tom Brady.
I get it, and I'm
good.
I'm kind of way over Aaron Rodgers, but I am curious with all of the attention, and because he's become the Aaron Rodgers I wanted him to be for the Packers. I'm showing up for the team.
Yeah.
I'm going to practice.
Right.
I seem to be interacting with my fellow teammates instead of being the diva.
Isn't
that
adorable?
It's I cut my hair. You know, like this is the guy that I wanted on our team for the past couple of seasons. So out of curiosity, I'm curious.
I think most people are, Sandy, and I don't think people are going in rooting. Although Brendan is rooting against him. He's
Brandon and his cheese wedge.
I'm sorry, Brandon. Brandon was like, go Bills. I think most Packer fans that were Rodgers fans, it's the curiosity factor as well. I think they're not wanting. They don't want to see him fail, but they also don't want to see him succeed. Because to your point, it's like, did you watch Hard Knocks at all? I did, and I watched it from a curiosity standpoint too. It's like I didn't watch it because I like the guy, because I don't like the guy, but I was curious to see how's he gonna
How's he gonna behave?
And how's he going to behave and interact with the cameras in his face?
Yeah.
And he wasn't a jackwagon.
Yay.
He was actually engaging, and he told UFO stories. Oh,
surprise!
More weird Aaron Rodgers. But I think most Packer fans, again, they're not going to cheer against him. They're not going to cheer for him. They're going to watch with a curious eye. How is he going to react to being in New York with a different football team? And especially if things go bad, again, it's not going to be, oh, good, it's going bad for Aaron Rodgers. He's in a Jets uniform. That's what he gets. That's what he deserves. For most people, it's not like that. It's just a curiosity of let's see how this guy does in a different surrounding. Because, again, he was with the Packers for almost 2 decades. Mm-hmm. And your athletes are creatures of habit, Sandy. I don't know if you noticed that.
And superstition.
Oh, my gosh, yes. So when you change the world, and he put on a great face on Hard Knocks, and everything's great. I'm going to Broadway shows. I love my teammates. But now it gets real. And if things go bad, does he turn back into, as I say, Jack Wagon Aaron Rodgers, where he starts pointing fingers and saying, it's not about me, it's about you. I'm the Hall of Fame quarterback.
First date Rodgers. I think this is every relationship. I think we're getting the best. He's showering and shaving and opening the door for you and treating you right. And I think we're seeing the best behaved Aaron. And I think once the relationship gets a little rocky,
the honeymoon's over?
I won't say the honeymoon, but it's 3rd or 4th date where, he's the guy who leaves his socks on the floor all the time. Like, there's a little less pretense, and we start getting into the you got to take me how I am phase.
Oh, that will happen.
So I think that's coming.
That will happen.
Well, how about you? Are you curious, or could you care less? We want to know about Aaron Rodgers' debut as a Jet tonight. Are you curious, or could you care less? The Old National Bank talk and text line, 855-616-1620.
More of WTMJ now after this.
This is a year of change for Wisconsin football. Whether it's a new quarterback or coach, our teams will be exciting to watch this season. As Wisconsin's 3PL, Evans Transportation knows a thing or two about changing things up when it comes to manufacturers' accounting, shipping, and tracking needs. Call Evans if your supply chain team isn't running on all cylinders this season. Good luck to our Wisconsin football teams from Wisconsin's 3PL in Delafield. Find them at evanstrans.com. That's evanstrans.com.
Debbie Loziga here. I've been wanting to shade in my backyard for years, and now that dream is coming true thanks to my friends at Comfort Awnings located in Burlington. It's a local family-owned company that provides expert installation servicing southeast Wisconsin and northern Illinois. They came out to my house and walked me through the process, from different colors and fabrics, custom fit to my home's exterior and backyard. Right now, you can receive $250 off awnings and screens until the end of September. Call 414-AWNINGS for a free estimate or visit comfortawnings.com.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. The Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's is coming up, and we're getting ready. This is a great way to get involved in the community and support the 120,000 Wisconsinites living with Alzheimer's and other dementia, and the 191,000 caregivers. Learn more about the event and register your team at alz.org/walk. Join us at the Milwaukee Walk to End Alzheimer's on September 17th.
This message is for the person who always gets asked to make the plans, the person others always go to for restaurant recommendations. Next time, you're the one expected to plan the next team outing or girls' night out. Let Milwaukee or Chicago Food and City Tours make those plans for you. Don't worry, you can still take the credit, but we'll handle the planning and make sure that everyone, including you, has a delicious time. You set the date, we'll handle the rest at MilwaukeeFoodTours.com or ChicagoFoodTours.com.
WTMJ Now.
I'm Sandy Maxx. Bob Brainerd filling in for Steve Scafidi on WTMJ Now today. And we asked, are you curious or could you care less that Aaron Rodgers makes his debut as a Jet on Monday Night Football tonight?
It's about it, right? I mean, there's no being on the fence.
Yeah.
You're either all in, like, I can't wait to see how this guy does in green and white, or,
Or you can care less because you're not a football fan or you're just done with him. So the Old National Bank talk and text line, 855-616-1620. Kate in McWanago, curious or could you care less?
Wait to watch the game tonight.
You can't wait.
I can't wait. So I have. It took me a while to become a Rodgers fan. I'm a big Favre fan. So when the departure and the transformation happened, it took me a while to get on board until I started realizing not only was he a great quarterback, but probably one of the smartest guys out there. Very methodical, very competitive. Started loving all of those things about him until the past 2 seasons. And I feel like I feel like the drama started happening. I'm sure that there's problems on both sides of the fence. Management always has a hand in things. However, I think that Rodgers let his teammates down. He definitely let the fans down. This whole transformation and being a Jet, the haircut, the new look, the smile on his face, the $35 million drop to get more weapons around him.
That's right.
Good grief.
I forgot about the money.
Oh, yeah. And, Josh Allen, wow, he's a great quarterback. I think he's a little bit more of a loose cannon like Favre was sometimes, but I like watching him play. I hope the Bills come in, and I hope that Buffalo just stomps for New York.
All right.
Thanks,
All right.
Kate. Enjoy watching the game tonight.
Yeah, Kate said that Aaron Rodgers is a smart quarterback, and he's the smartest guy in the room. You just have to ask him. I mean, and she kind of alluded to that. Like the last couple of years, it's like he was getting a little bit too smart. Like, yeah, I'm the guy here. I know what I'm doing here. I don't need any of your advice.
Dick in West Bend, are you curious or could you care less about tonight's game with Aaron Rodgers in a Jets jersey?
To be honest with you, I hope he fills. I mean, and I totally agree with your last caller. We liked him. He did well. He's a very intelligent man, but I think he's got an attitude. And he's always, the thing that scares me is when he's got an attitude, he plays very well.
True.
Something to prove.
And, something to prove. And then when we play him later in the season, and, I'm worried about that game, but, I mean, he's, like you said earlier, he's clean shaven. It's like, I'm good, the good, clean-cut boy, and he's a great quarterback. He is a great quarterback, but I think he let the Packers and all the fans down.
One amendment
he did
there.
Nothing but he did complain about what Favre did, and then there again he did the same thing.
Yeah, he replicated. I don't think the Jets are on the Packers' schedule though this year, so I don't think we're going to have that big, Jordan Love versus Aaron Rodgers, mashup.
I thought we were playing them later in the season.
No, not this year. Now, because the Packers played the AFC East teams last year, so in a couple years, if Rodgers is still around, we shall
won't
see.
be, but
yeah, good.
But that's my opinion.
Thank you, Dick. I really
Thanks, Dick.
appreciate your feedback. We'll take one more call because we got a special guest that we want to check in with in New York who probably has a really good idea of what's coming tonight. But we'll check in with Charlie in Germantown. Are you curious or could you care less tonight about Aaron Rodgers' debut as the Jet?
I have to watch the game tonight. My brother-in-law offered me a wager. Which team will win more games with this year, the New York Jets with Rodgers or the Packers with Aaron Love? I'm already down a game, so I have to watch the game tonight and root for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
Wait a minute. You took the Jets and Rodgers to win?
I did take the Jets over the rookie, and I'm starting to have second thoughts right now, so I might be in a lot of trouble.
So can we ask what the wager is? Is it a monetary thing, or what's the wager?
It is a huge monetary wager, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
You want to know the amount?
Yeah.
Yes.
$5.
Good luck, Charlie.
Good luck, Charlie.
Kind of a friendly thing, but yeah, I'm going to need some luck, I think. So go Packers.
Good luck, Charlie.
$5.
And speaking of $5, we are going to check in with Anita Marks. She is a sports betting and fantasy football analyst and expert for ESPN, as well as a host in New York on ESPN New York. We're checking in with Anita next to get her in the actual state of New York take on Aaron Rodgers as a Jet tonight. Stay with us.
More of WTMJ now after this.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
We want to decrease your pain as fast as possible.
When we inject our powerful, FDA-approved anti-inflammatory and cushioning medicine precisely guided to the root of your pain, in most cases, relief in hips, shoulders, elbows, and knees is a reality. For those who go through our entire process, we can very much control and reduce your pain while increasing your quality of life. Thousands of Rejuvenex patients maintain their pain relief with semi-annual to annual treatments, proven to reduce inflammation, to make pain a lot more bearable. Some providers may charge up to $8,000 for similar treatments. At Rejuvenex, because we're in network with most major insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, your out-of-pocket expense could be as low as $400 or less, or nothing at all. I'm Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Pain Clinics, where you can find pain relief. Really.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
It's not a gimmick. It's simply comprehensive, fee-only financial planning to get all your arrows pointed in the right direction. And although rate of return is important, there are many factors that are equally, if not more important. There's a strong belief among financial experts that tax planning is more important than rate of return. And at Financial Strategies, we strongly believe that is what sets us apart. As a result of our strategies, our clients have saved significantly on their taxes. They were prepared to pay the taxes and elated when we shared how they could avoid them. We want to grow your investment and protect it, and we've proven to be very good at doing just that. I'm Jim Cantrell with Financial Strategies, Inc., and we can show you a wiser way to build your wealth. So go to financialstrategiesinc.com and schedule a no-cost consultation.
Financial strategies, a wiser way to build your wealth.
For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
SemperFiRoofing.com.
Brighten up your Monday or your Tuesday with a free dinner at the Fox and Hounds. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds. Recently voted the best supper club in the area. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free. Order your favorite steak, the pecan-crusted salmon, seafood, pasta, big fresh salad, even steak and lobster. Get one free. Buy one, get one free. Desserts are also buy one, get one free. 100 wines, 20 bourbons, a Manhattan or old-fashioned with a great beer selection will accent your dinner. The Fox and Hounds, tucked right into the Kettle Moraine Forest. There's nothing else like it. Have a drink in the beer garden in the woods. I love the beer garden. It's beautiful. It's relaxing. The scenery is spectacular. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of the beautiful Holy Hill Shrine. As the seasons begin to change, the drive alone is gorgeous. A must-see for Southeast Wisconsin. Check it out. Enjoy a quiet, free dinner tonight at the Fox and Hounds. Tables still open. Come on in. No reservations required. One of my favorite places and recently voted the best supper club in the area. It's the Fox and Hounds. Reservations available at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
It's WTMJ Now.
More love songs in honor of the Packers' victory with quarterback Jordan Love. I'm Sandy Maxx. Bob Brainerd in for Steve Scafidi on WTMJ Now as we ride high on the first Packers victory, is what I'm calling it. But we've been talking football, and especially because Monday Night Football is going to feature Aaron Rodgers in a Jets jersey. We've gotten mostly curious or could care less calls from WTMJ fans. But we go now to New York, and I love talking with our next guest. Anita Marks, welcome back to WTMJ. Anita is a sports betting and fantasy football analyst. She's a former football player, and you see her regularly on Daily Wager on ESPN. And Anita, I totally want your perspective from New York now.
Wow. Okay, well, first things first, big shout out to Jordan Love. A lot of pressure, obviously. Nobody really knowing what to expect or what the Green Bay Packers were going to do yesterday. But, man, to come out of the box strong, really, really fantastic. And I have Dobbs on my fantasy football league, so love that he scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That was tremendous, right? So big shout out to Green Bay Packers fans. You got to feel really good about that. Tonight's going to be interesting, right? I'm sure you guys watched Hard Knocks, not the Aaron Rodgers that a lot of us were anticipating, right?
Oh, no. Not even close, Anita.
You got the Rodgers that we wanted the past 2 seasons.
I know. Man, what Hard Knocks did for his image was pretty phenomenal. But I'm.
Are New Yorkers buying it, Anita? Are New Yorkers like, okay?
But they're eating it up. They're eating it up. Are you kidding? Come on. I mean, like, Aaron Rodgers walks on water. He's the savior. You saw the crowd. You saw them, how they reacted to him when he came out for the green and white scrimmage.
Yep.
Oh, and he was eating that up too, right? So, New York Jets fans, they finally got their quarterback. They feel like they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. That's how they feel.
So
I keep on my radio show, I keep on telling them, slow your roll. You need a really good offensive line. And really, to me, that's the key tonight, guys, right? Because we know the Buffalo Bills, they've got a phenomenal front seven, even though Von Miller is not going to be active tonight. But this offensive line, this will be the first time that these 5 guys are going to be suiting up and playing cohesively together. And I think they're going to go through some growing pains. And so that's my biggest concern.
Anita, I'm glad you're telling your listeners to slow their roll because, this can go south in a hurry. We've seen it happen here. If it goes bad, how will New Yorkers respond to Aaron Rodgers? Will they turn on him?
That's a great question. I don't believe that they will turn on him.
I think some of us want them to, though. I think we have.
I don't. I mean, they're so. Listen, they haven't had a quarterback like this in years, right? So if things go south and it goes bad, they'll probably go after the organization and be like, why didn't you invest more money in an offensive line, right? Like, one of my favorite quotes from Hard Knocks was when Aaron said, "Hey, he addressed his offensive line. He says, guys, you got to pass protect. It's the only way we could have nice things." So, I think if things go south, I think the fan base will go after Joe Douglas, the general manager. I think they'll go after the front office because in my opinion, the only way this goes south is if the offensive line fails. And I think there's a really good possibility that happens. I was doing some research in regard to Aaron Rodgers, and last year, and I'm sure you guys are aware of this, he was only 33.4% completion percentage in passes thrown 20 yards or more, and 15.9% completion percentage in passes 30 yards or more. He hasn't been able to create for himself in quite a while. He is going to turn 40 in December. So to me, great that he's got all these fun new toys and weapons to work with. And he brought over Lazard and he brought over Cobb and they signed Dalvin Cook. But to me, at that age, and statistics don't lie, to me the most important group would have been the offensive line. And I feel that if this goes south, that's going to be the reason why. And I think the fan base will then turn on the organization for not providing Aaron Rodgers the better offensive line. That's what I think will happen.
Interesting. Who do you think is going to win tonight over the Jets and the Bills?
I do believe it's the Bills. So much change, right, for this Jets team. Aaron Rodgers coming in, Nathaniel Hackett being here. This is a mixture of vets and a lot of rookies and a new running back who are going to have to learn this new system. Nobody knows it like Aaron, of course. He's that extension of Nathaniel Hackett out there on the football field. That's evident from Hard Knocks. So there's that where really not a lot of change from the Buffalo Bills, right? Same head coach, same offensive coordinator, same defensive coordinator, and they only got better. On the defensive side of the ball, they got better in free agency in the draft. Also, they're finally coming in. The first time the Jets played Josh Allen was when he hurt his elbow, and he was not the same the remainder of the season. So you've got a healthy Josh Allen coming in. They add to the offense. I love Kincaid, the tight end that they drafted. He was my favorite tight end coming out of this year's draft. And they're going to be playing a lot more 12 personnel, which includes the tight end in the passing game. So I think their offense has gotten better. Their defense has gotten better. I think they have a better head coach in McDermott than Robert Saleh. So I just think Buffalo checks all the boxes. And for game one, I have Buffalo winning tonight, and I would lay the 2.5.
All right. Anita's making the call. Full disclosure, Anita, I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, so I don't know what to do tonight.
Wow. Yeah. Listen, just marinate in the fact that you beat the Chargers in LA yesterday. What an unbelievable game that was. I was watching that one late. That was really exciting to watch. So, and Tua, I guess more importantly, Tua made it out of there in one piece.
Oh, so. I cross my fingers every game, Anita. Just keep Tua upright. That's it.
Exactly.
And Anita, where will you be watching the Jets game tonight?
That's a great question. I'm not working today. I'm off. So I want to go out and yesterday was a work day. So I want to go out and I want to enjoy it as a football fan. So I'm texting a bunch of my friends and I'm trying to get a bunch of us together to go watch at some local watering hole in Hoboken, New Jersey, with a bunch of Jets. And that's another thing. I'd like to sit back and I like to watch fan reactions. I want to watch it in a sports bar while I'm sitting back eating some good wings, some buffalo shrimp, sipping on some good beer, and I want to sit back and I want to watch fan reaction when how everything plays out. To me, that's really, really fun to do. So I'm going to find a spot to go watch it tonight.
Awesome.
Take it all in. Anita Marks of 98.7 FM ESPN New York, and watch her on the Daily Wager on ESPN2. Thanks, Anita.
You got it. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks, Anita.
I am Sandy Maxx. Bob Brainerd, thank you for filling in for Steve Scafidi today.
My pleasure.
Jeff Wagner is in next after the news on WTMJ.
WTMJ Now.
WTMJ's John Mercure here. Join me as we count down to the RNC in Milwaukee. We'll talk to the biggest names across the political landscape. Ronna McDaniel, she is the chair of the Republican National Committee.
The American public really wants to see what Republicans are putting forward and what our plan is to turn the tide.
Full podcast available on WTMJ.com or text RNC to the Old National Bank talk and text line 855-616-1620 and get a link sent directly to you. It's the countdown to the RNC podcast, only here on WTMJ.
Russ bought his first home in Wisconsin with a mortgage from Accunet when today's college freshmen were still in diapers. A few Friday mornings ago, Russ emailed saying he and his wife were ready to buy their forever